All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Nighttime. Joining us this evening, well, to my left, mate, I've got Marchie. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah, going really well. Back again.
Yep.
I haven't seen a lot of the footy this weekend. I had a Saturday night in Sydney down at the Motorsports Park. Went down and watched young Cameron Dunker race.
Right.
Young up-and-coming, I think, Australian champion in the future. 17, 18 this year at the end of the year. Had a bit of a run round in the thousands and done himself pretty proud. He was a bit upset with himself in the last race, but no, he went well, and he's one of the young fellas that I'm actually sponsoring at Maitland Bathroom. So good luck, Cameron, and for the rest of the season, off to Asia next week.
Yep.
So, good luck, young fella, and hopefully we'll be chatting to you on a Zoom very shortly.
There we go. Very good. Well, how's your week been anyway, mate? All right?
Yeah, been busy, mate. Been busy, as always.
Nice.
Always busy.
All right, well, joining me to my right, we got Courtney. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. It's been a bit weird being up this end of the table.
Yeah. There you go.
Don't know how I feel.
Oh, there you go. Might have to wear the wig.
Oh, give it here.
And over there is Jace. How are you, mate? Welcome back.
Corey, how you guys? How are you?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been promoted or demoted from the lounge, so yeah.
It's a promotion, mate.
Promotion?
Promotion.
Definitely.
You're on the board of directors now.
Shorter numbers.
Directors.
Shorter numbers. Shorter numbers.
Not sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I get it. Desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate times,
Yeah.
desperate measures. I just want to say my partner's in hospital at the moment, a third night in tonight, and I was almost pulled out of coming today, but she said, no, good, to go do it. So
Oh, well,
We really appreciate you
shout
coming
out
in,
to
man.
Amber, please, but for letting me
All the best,
pushing me
Amber.
to come. But yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hopefully Amber gets well soon, mate.
Yeah, she'll be.
Yeah.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I must say, definitely a better substitute for Gary. Absolutely.
Oh, geez.
2 weeks without him now.
That'll be cut out.
Well, speaking about Gary, he can't be with us tonight. He's feeling a bit unwell. But, guys, hope you feel better soon, mate, and hope you're back on deck next week. Anyway, joining us in the Smitter Lounge again tonight is our very own Chad. How are you, pal?
G'day. Also, someone mentioned hair. Can I have some hair? Because I've got no. Everyone's going good. We're all doing well. Thank you for letting me back on the couch. It's the most comfortable seat in the house.
It's a good seat,
It's a
that one.
pretty good seat. Thank you for having me again.
Right in the way of the aircon.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. All right, guys. Well, we'll kick off proceedings with the NRL news brought to you by our friends at Hip Pocket Workwear. All right. So first of all, Justin Olam has officially retired from the NRL. So that probably is going to free up a little bit of money for, I reckon, Taylor May to come in. Or I did read today that they're possibly looking at upgrading Lockie Galvin's contract.
Okay. Not exactly a like for like, a centre and upgrading a 5'8", but they got someone else in the juniors, might work out. He was a gun player when he was at Melbourne. Most players are at Melbourne are gun players, and then they move elsewhere. And I was thinking the other day, not many leave Melbourne and still play well, except I with the exception of Tino, I think at the Titans, he's probably playing just as well, if not better. But everyone else that leaves Melbourne to play elsewhere don't really play at the level that they did. So I'm fortunate for Justin Olam. I think he was a gun. He was a strong centre.
Yeah, sad ending for him anyway. Well, this one's going to get up Smitter's gate. Will Price has been released by the Knights and he will return to Super League as soon as possible.
What is going on in the night shed?
For
God's
I think
sake.
it's starting now to save money for Dylan Brown.
Oh, they're going to have, Well, $2 million for Ponga. We're going to go 1.3 for Dylan
be a
Brown. What
two-man
the hell? Yeah. And when one of them's out with injury, down the ladder we go.
Such a shame too. I mean, I felt like he was going to be there, or at least be on the bench for the Knights. So, it's a
So
shame.
does he go back to England and not come back?
Well, he's
Or
going
does
back
he
to
come-
England, so whether it comes back or not, so it depends on if someone else wants to pick him up.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, not real good. Anyway, moving on. Jerome Luai has been charged with a Grade 2 careless high tackle. He faces a 1-game ban with an early guilty plea. He will also undergo scans on his shoulder.
That's a hit for the Tigers. I missed that shoulder charge.
Yeah, it was pretty much right at the back end of the game.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Plethora of them over the weekend.
Oh.
There was heaps of them.
Yeah,
But-
that's
And
right.
that'll be later for
I'm
me.
sure we'll get into that later on
Yeah,
tonight.
definitely.
Yeah.
Very wet
100%.
weekend, let's just say that.
Yeah. Raiders winger Albert Hopewadi has suffered an ACL injury playing New South Wales Cup, and he will miss the rest of the NRL, or at least the rest of the season. Dolphins forward Tom Gilbert has submitted an early guilty plea to his Grade 2 careless high tackle charge. He will miss this week's clash with the Titans. The Panthers are expecting Dylan Edwards to return from his groin injury this round. A welcome boost with Brian To'o out after he aggravated his hammy. He's expected to at least miss a month of footy.
Oh, for God's sake. The Panthers are taking a hit, aren't they?
Yeah, well, Cleary's back this week. Dylan Edwards is back, I did see this week. So, yeah, welcome boost for those guys.
Yep.
Andrea Johns at Miss is unsure how the Sharks rebuild Nico Hines to help discover his best form again. He says when the game was on the line last week, Nico went missing.
Another Storm player.
Yeah. There's plenty of players that have gone missing in the last 4 weeks.
He's been missing for longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, like, top guy, like, from all reports, he's a real friendly guy, gives you the time of day, and which is what you need in a football player outside of footy. But, yeah, you got...
That's Bellamy, though.
Yeah.
That's Bellamy.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's Bellamy. You know, you have a look at a couple of these South players over the next few rounds coming under Bennett. They will change.
Yeah.
They will change. You just need time with them.
You can see it already.
You can see it.
You really
They
can
are
see the
starting
improvement.
to change their the platform that they play with, all that type of stuff. That's all going to change. And you know, Latrell coming back, he's been probably getting peppered by Bennett. Yeah. You got to do this, you got to do that for the last couple of weeks until he gets fit.
Yeah.
Bennett, Bellamy, you know, they change players.
Yeah.
They are hard coaches.
He's gone to another club. He's not under that tuition no more, so he's not getting the same advice. It's always been the same with those two coaches.
Yeah.
They are hard coaches and they've got...
They've got conditions you work with.
Yep.
Well, I'm actually, to be brutally honest, I'm really not sure how you do rebuild him. Like, his confidence has been down ever since that second origin when he ran out in the centres and he got ran around. I can't remember who ran around him, but he's lost his confidence since then. And
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Nico.
Oh, Nico Hines. Yeah.
With that Origin game last year where he only played 12 minutes, I think they put him out
Yeah.
centre.
Centres, yeah.
You know, and they get beat. I mean, yeah, scapegoat possibly, but you know, these days you got to be able to play more than one position.
Yeah.
Now, I know Nico can play in the halves and at fullback. I think he played fullback at the Storm.
Yep.
But got to be a bit more adaptable.
Well, I hope he does discover his best form because he's a pretty good footy
He
player.
is a good player.
I mean, he was a Dally
He is
M medalist.
Exactly.
You know, even though Buzz Rodfield probably gave him 30 votes for the year. But, he still has that medal around his neck. So, you know, so if he can get to that best form of footy, well, look out, you know, for everybody else.
Do you think it could be a club issue? Because it seems like he doesn't want to perform for his club or he's scared to be injured again because he's quiet.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a point of not wanting to perform. I think it's a different culture. Like, obviously, as you say, Bennett and Bellamy have their own cultures and they have that no dickhead policy of, Sticky Stewart has that also, and I think one or two others have that no dickhead policy. He's gone to the Sharks. New coach, Fitzgibbon, who's, this is his fourth year of coaching, third or fourth year.
Yep.
It's a totally different culture. Maybe Fitzgibbon needs to, and maybe he's tried to, I'm not saying he hasn't, but he needs to build a certain culture around his club and around his team.
Yeah.
And maybe
Culture has a lot to do with it.
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah,
and
100%.
that builds the type of player you become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Anyway, moving on. Scans have revealed an upper rib injury for Alex Johnston. He is listed as a day-by-day proposition and is unsure how long he'll be fit to play. Did anyone watch that game on Friday night? Or was it Thursday night where he scored that try in the corner? And I thought it was his shoulder blade that they said he did.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. Ooh, and he carried on for 40 minutes.
You know, there's not many South players I like, but I really want him to get that try scoring record. Like, he seems like a really cool
He
guy.
deserves it.
Yeah.
I think he deserves it. He's been there. He's done a lot.
He's spilled a lot for that club.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And he, unfortunately, this might be an issue for him getting closer to that too.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Manly fullback Tom Trbojevic has injured his MCL and will be missing at least a month on the sidelines.
It's becoming a yearly thing.
Yeah, bit of a Teflon.
Yeah.
Did anyone see that meme of him getting new legs?
Yeah.
the
Cyborg
Terminator
legs.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
Go heading that way.
when he's on the park, Manly are a dangerous side. So.
Yeah.
But look, they've got a pretty good backup in Lehigh Hopewadi.
Yep.
So, I mean, so...
I don't think they're going to lose a lot in that
No.
change because
No.
even though he hasn't been 100% anyhow.
No.
He was injured last week and he played on again this week and it's come back to bite him for wanting to play on. Maybe he should have done the sit out for a couple of weeks and get himself sorted again. They're not sitting at the bottom of the table.
Yeah.
I know they're not sitting at the top of the table, but they're still in the position early in the season. They'll still win games
Yeah.
without him. They probably shouldn't have risked him. Maybe sit him out and just let him get over. Like it's something. It's something that's probably going to happen constantly now with him. I don't know. I think they might have been better off just letting him sit for a couple of weeks early in the season too. It could change their season.
No one screams Manly more than Turbo or Jake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Manly, pure Manly, like from growing up following them, like no one screams Manly than those guys. So it's a shame when you see like Turbo go down once or twice a year with 3 or 4 or 5 weeks
Screams
at a time.
pole glaze, Todd pole glaze.
Oh, yeah.
It screams pole glaze.
Yeah.
Since that hamstring injury that he copped, what was that, 3 seasons ago now?
Yeah.
He's never been the same. Pole glaze was the same. Really bad tear. Never recovered. Ended up back out at Curry and didn't even finish the season with Curry.
Jeez.
Same thing. So he just kept tearing that hamstring, and that's it's all leg injuries for him. So and for me, it all stems off that one injury.
Yeah.
And it depends on, like, people are different. So they react differently to different injuries, whether they repair quickly, their age, their build, or if they come back too quickly, and especially hamstrings and say calves and groins. You need the time to get over those. Don't come back earlier and push yourself.
Yeah, because it's only going to happen again.
Yeah.
100%. And especially when they're in peak physical condition, like they're pushing themselves to the extremes to keep themselves fit. Their training now is just it's hard. It's just you're constantly working.
Does part of that come from the club pushing them to come, because they're paying their bills, right? So they don't want to be paying their players X amount of money, big dollars, to be on a sideline, and they're pushing them to go out and play and earn that. I don't know. I mean, I reckon it's mainly a club issue. In
Possibly,
small ways,
yeah.
the player issue. But
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the players also got the right to say, I don't feel it's ready. Do they? Do they have that right to say, I don't think it's ready? Like, don't push it. Let it just, I need another week.
Well, it'll come down to doctors' opinions as well.
But the doctor doesn't feel what the player feels.
If it's a club doctor, they'd go on the club side more than a player.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you got an independent,
Definitely, yep. And then the next week when he goes out and plays, he's injured.
Yeah.
So does that fall back on the doctor?
Yeah.
So there's got to be, the player still has to have some sort of input. He knows his body.
Yeah. 100%.
He's been training that body since he was 14 years old
Yeah.
to get in the
Yeah.
position he's in.
Yeah.
So he knows his body better than anyone else knows his body. So even though the doctor says, I think you're right to play, well, hang on, mate, I don't think I'm ready.
Yeah.
But then again, the player probably doesn't want to do that either, because then he doesn't want that falling back onto him later in his contract.
Also, this could come down to strength and conditioning during training and whatever else. So,
Yeah, could. Yeah.
if they're not being conditioned better during the week or in the off season or whatever else to prepare for the game, maybe that's an issue.
Possibly, yeah.
You got something to add, Chad, have you?
I was only just going to say that basically they're bashing their bodies together. Like
Yeah.
on the field every single day, it's like if you... And back to the idea of the doctor, who's paying the doctor's bill? Are they doing for the club? Like, oh, come on, mate, we need them back on the field. who gets to make the decisions. It would be very interesting to find out who makes those decisions so that you can go, okay, well, that's where the buck stops. Because if the players out there, as you said, if they're out for the entire week or in the next week and then out for another month, well, they're paying for someone to be on the sidelines that could have healed that extra week, but they're not giving that time. They're not giving that time. And I think you're right. Like, it's too far. So who is the decision maker? Does anyone know who that is? If anyone knows about who that is, let us know, because that would be...
This is it. If it's a 6-week injury and they push a player to come back after 4 weeks, right? Re-injures himself and he's out for another 6.
Yeah.
So...
Or potentially for good. If
I was going to say, for good or for the season.
Or
Yeah.
would you rather he sit out for the 6 weeks?
Yep.
Or come back 2 weeks early and then spend another 6 weeks or the season?
Yep.
So,
Or for good. It's pretty simple, you know. Like if they end up with a bad back injury or something like that, or a massive groin injury, which you've seen thousands of, then what?
and then
That's them out for life.
but that could also become a future possible legal
Yeah.
action.
This is true.
Yep.
But I
And we've-
mean,
and we've seen that before.
in seeing that too, I mean, you're an athlete, you're out
Yep.
doing these kinds of things, you know, it's bound to happen. You're going to be tackling other people, like bigger men like yourself, you know, it's things are bound to happen. So realistically, it's just a luck
But
of
if
the draw.
someone comes back with receipts and says, right, they pushed me to come back earlier, this doctor said
Oh, if they're
this,
pushing to
you
come
know,
back early, 100%, yeah.
And that's the thing. I think if they are pushing and there are receipts, then the clubs better watch out, because that's a whole paper trail of things that could go wrong for them, and then they'll be like worrying about that in the future. So that's I think player health is more important than the almighty dollar. I don't care how much you're getting paid.
And mental health.
And mental health. Absolutely.
We've got too much player burnout at the moment, and it's just, it's very showing.
Anyway, we're moving on with our news. We're going off on a tangent. there, guys.
Tangent.
Tangent.
Tangent Tuesday.
Tangent. Dogs forward Satili Tupanua has been charged with a grade 2 dangerous contact. He faces a 1-game suspension with an early guilty plea. Titans fullback Keanu Kitty has suffered a serious neck injury. The dog said if he suffered another knock, he could have been paralysed. He was so blessed to find out this now before something seriously happened. Anyway.
Comes back to that player thing.
Yeah.
You know, he just needs to sit himself out, get himself right, and see how he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dragons prop Emre Gula is facing a 3-game stint on the sideline with a crusher tackle if he takes the early guilty plea. The Panthers have also confirmed their intention to re-sign Nathan Cleary on a long-term extension past his guarantee, which expires in 2027. Need to lock him up and key for life, I reckon. So,
I couldn't see him playing elsewhere.
No.
He's
I
one
don't
of those
think he'd
one
wanna.
club players
I could see him moving on, but
to the Knights.
no, we don't want him.
They haven't got the money no more.
You got no money.
Got no
They've
money.
already just spent, like, they've got, what's Ponga, 1 point such and such?
Well, he's going to 2 mil.
2 million.
Apparently re-signing him.
And Dylan
mil.
Brown,
2 million.
1.3. There's,
So he's gone
chunky
from
salary cap gone.
1.3 million to 2 million.
Here's the thing: are we
What?
shaking it? They're shaking the. What tree are they shaking down to get that? First off, money, and then also, like, is everyone else? What's everyone else on? Are they on like? They also working in the stands and
They're
during the
pint of
night?
Coke.
They're doing a pint of
Yeah.
Coke. They're over there serving the. They're over there
Only
serving.
if
the
they
Well, I
get a
don't know, have
try,
you
they
got
get a
them-
pint of cake.
Right, yeah, that's what I got when I played footy.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's been to a game recently,
$5
but the
a try.
the price of a mid-strength beer, crazy. But what's the salary cap? Is every club this might be a dumb question. Is every club the same with the salary cap,
Yes.
or are they different?
No,
No,
well, the
it's-
salary caps is the same.
Yeah.
It comes back to sponsorship deals.
Yeah, okay.
So it's sponsorship deals,
Television rights.
television rights, all that type of stuff. So the higher profile that player is, the more option they
Yeah,
they
100%.
get. So there is not backdoor deals, but to me they are backdoor deals because you've got a salary cap. You need to stick to the salary cap.
Well, that's what I mean. Is
but
it?
some players are out there earning an extra, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a season, or they get given an apartment somewhere or a
Yeah.
luxury car through someone. That to me should be on the salary cap.
Or if you're
100%.
at Melbourne, you get a boat and a second contract.
Well, that's where the apartments come in, mate.
Yeah.
Well, do
That's
we
where the
know?
apartments come in.
Do we know the salary cap amount, or is that not something
I think
that's
we spoke about that
public knowledge?
yeah.
when I was in the first time I was in
Is it
this
16
season.
million now?
I think
per club?
it's somewhere,
per club each.
somewhere around that.
But that'll go up.
Well, they are trying to look and increase that with the new broadcast deal that's supposed
right.
to come out.
That's
so
right.
in conjunction with that.
So with the salary cap, does that include? Is that just players or is that coaches? Is that?
It's just players.
Just players.
Yeah. Okay. Radio.
Yeah. So that's your top 30.
Yeah. Okay.
Is top 30?
Yes.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
30 contracted. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, it's something I didn't know.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what the minimum is. It 180,000.
I think it's 100 and. Is it 120? It might be 180.
I think it's,
Is
I'm
the
thinking
base-
somewhere. Is
base
the base
salary?
is your base player is 180,000
Yeah.
ish.
God, I need to get fit and go join the NRL. God.
The ladies team is looking for some more players. Ladies team looking
They've
for
lost a few
players.
tonight.
I'm pretty quick. I reckon I can make a good winger. I don't know.
Oh, as long as you're not playing hooker.
Oh, Marchie.
Moving on.
Anyway,
Nice.
sail us into the next one, boat boy.
Oh, wow.
Play back for the weekend.
Yeah, anyway.
Pretty punny, isn't
Moving
it?
on, Dragons medical staff has also confirmed that young Dragons forward Hamish Stewart will miss 3 to 6 matches with a facial fracture.
That's shit.
There's a lot of injuries and suspensions this week, wasn't there?
Definitely.
This
big weekend.
this whole year so far.
Yeah,
What the
well,
hell?
I'll get on to you about
This
that.
round was pretty
I'll
bad.
get on to that about that. There was a stat that I read the other day.
Yeah, I've seen you share that.
Yeah. Craig Bellamy is also leaning towards continuing coaching as the Storm coach in 2026.
Oh, he can't go anywhere other than the Storm. Storm's his team.
Yeah, but they used to say that about Bennett and the Broncos. So.
Yeah, but Bennett's a hopper. He's hopped around to a fair few teams now, and I just feel like, where's he going to pop up next? But Bellamy, if he was to go to another club, I'd be quite shocked. Because I think the Storm just,
Yeah, I don't think he'll go anywhere.
I think
No.
the thing about Wayne Bennett is he's always wanted a challenge, and and Broncos, they did the State of Origin for years, they did the Broncos for years. I think he's bounced around teams more so that it's to get maybe maybe his family just love to be at different places, but I think just the from someone who likes
don't
to
think
bounce
his
around
family
jobs.
comes,
I would like the new challenge of the new team
I
and the
don't
new
know whether
lineup.
his family actually follow him where he goes.
Really?
Well, he came to the Knights and he found someone else.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah.
yeah.
I don't think they've ever followed where he's gone.
I think when he came to Newcastle, that was a money issue because that was bankrolled by Tinkler.
Yep,
That was-
and that would have been big dollars.
Massive dollars.
He would have paid him well
Massive
overs.
dollars.
100%.
Another dumb question. When was he at the Knights?
Long ago. From the
When was that?
after the Dragons.
After the Dragons, yeah. Yep.
So that was after 2011.
Yeah, it was a while
But
back.
he was here for 3-4 years,
Oh.
I think. But yeah, did no good with.
I didn't know he came to the Knights. I am a spring chicken, so I wasn't.
He was there when Tinkler, the year after Tinkler took him over, he turned up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
right.
and then he threw the bank book at him, and
Yep.
that really worked.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, moving on.
Sorry.
That's all right. Journalist David Riccio has come out and said that DCE must stand down from State of Origin this year if he is genuine about leaving Manly with a premiership.
I don't think so.
Come on.
He's playing NRL this year. He's eligible for Origin.
100%.
Why not? He's a good player. That's what they want. They want good players to play in Origin.
But they say this about guys that have signed for Union next year, or they're going to go to England next year. Or, well, don't pick him for Origin. If you're playing NRL, you're eligible for Origin. You're eligible for
Yep.
international duty.
Yep.
Yep.
It's like a punishment for leaving Manly. But, as we discussed the other week, you get offered the money, you're going to go.
I thought we were supposed to put the best player in the team as an
100%.
Origin. Like, aren't we supposed to try and win? So, I'm sorry, I'm a Queenslander. Aren't we supposed to try and
Get out.
win? Like New South Wales and Queensland, they're supposed to, so you put your best player
Yeah.
forward, as long as, again, going back to the injuries thing, that they're not putting their entire season on the line
Yeah.
for it. Then the best player should be in there, no matter where they're doing or what's happening after this season.
Well, why wouldn't you put from the Knights example? You obviously Kalen Ponga's going to get picked. You're going to have Bradman Best. I'd like to see Sharpie have a run. I don't know if it's too early for him to do that yet. But again with name another team, Broncos. You're going to have Pat Carrigan. You're going to have I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Oh yeah.
Selwyn Cobbo, Reece Walsh for some reason. But you have your good players in.
Do you pick Reece Walsh or Kalen Ponga?
I'd pick Ponga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As your utility or number one.
Although, I will say, Reece Walsh has actually been playing really good this year so far.
With Reece Walsh, no.
He's actually been
Last
getting them up.
week he played some intelligent footy.
He has been actually picking his game up this
would
year, and
pick
I
Ponga
hate
at
to say that.
1. Reece Walsh is probably a better option as a 14, but if not, I'd probably
Are we
put him
picking
at
for
14.
Queensland?
Pardon me?
Are we picking for Queensland or New South
Well, you
Wales?
can't pick him for New South Wales.
Who?
Who? Ponga and Walsh.
Ponga as well. Was he?
Yeah,
He was
he's
Queensland
Queenslander.
last year, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
It's been a long year.
You are tired.
I'm so tired. I've had enough
so
this
tired.
week.
Well, anyway,
Scott, just quick question, because I've never asked this question on
for
people who are more intelligent about NRL than I've ever. What happens? Has anyone got statistics of what happens during the State of Origin time? What happens to the rest of the teams? So they go. Do they go back to their team and play? So this is my ignorance. Do they go back to their team and play, or do they?
Week of Origin they
Yeah.
don't, but the week after the
They
Origin
do.
they
Yeah.
can.
If
Yeah.
they're fit enough, they'll play. But
They'll
not
go
the
back.
week leading up. And this is why during Origin,
They rest 'em.
instead of one team having a bye, you might get
6 times.
3 or 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
More teams have the bye. Generally,
Right.
Queensland teams.
Yeah. And then they'll play their. If they do play, they'll play their
back end
their
of the
lower
comment,
division
wasn't it?
or their reserves.
I think because I think
it's true.
Yeah.
I will also say there's a lot smaller pool of Queenslanders than there are New South Wales guys. But yeah.
anyway, moving on. Broncos enforcer Jordan Ricky has been suspended for 2 matches for his careless grade 2 high tackle. Benji Marshall believes his side got no favours this last weekend against the Warriors. He refused to elaborate why, but he didn't want to find where it says, find the quotes there. There's nothing more to say. If you were watching, you would know.
Could be a number of things. If he's leaving it vague. Could be
There was a couple of. I
I
thought there
think
was
he-
a couple of shady calls.
He's leaving to find out, well, the Charles Nickel Clockstep one where he, ran into the face of Alex Seafarth. I think that wasn't a penalty, but it was awarded, which cost the Tigers the game.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
There was a couple. There was definitely a couple of calls in that game. But having said that, Tigers did themselves no favours.
That's
on a
right.
few
The
calls as well, so-
Warriors also scored a couple of tries to get back to 24 all.
Yeah.
Whatever it
At
was.
the end of the day, and I say this often, if you score 24 points, you should be winning a game.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you score 24 points
And get
4 tries, and get beat, something's wrong.
Your defence
You
is
can't
terrible.
blame someone laying down and getting a penalty to lose by 2 points.
Well, Dragons scored 14 and we won on the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, what a! I was going to put a
Knew
sports
that was
bet
gonna
on too. They beat them last year too.
They did.
Yeah,
And guess what happened after that? They went down the skits.
Yeah, I know. What the hell is with the Dragons?
Well, that
They
could be
beat
good
the
for
Storm
us.
every
That's
year.
what I thought. That's
Yeah.
what
That
could
is
be good for
crazy.
us.
yeah, I reckon. I seriously believe it's Parramatta's first win this weekend.
No, I don't think so. I think there's one player there that's going to change the game, and he's got something to prove.
Who?
We'll get into that later.
13 players.
Believe it.
No.
Believe
Anyway.
it when I see it.
Couple more to go, guys. Ricky Stewart has ruled out dropping KO weeks after a costly errors over the last fortnight. He has the full support of the playing group, he said. Reid Barney has also been charged with dangerous contact on Cronulla's Dan Atkinson. He has avoided suspension and will be fined $1,800 with an early guilty plea.
We'll bring that one up later too.
Yeah. Yes. Tigers centre Adam Dooley was ruled out before the game against the Warriors. He sustained a groin injury and he'll be out to 1 to 3 weeks.
So he's only just come back from that too, hasn't
Yeah.
he? So is that what we were just discussing? Is that too early?
I think he's had groin issues before.
He has last season
Yeah.
and the season before. I'm sure it's plagued him
Yeah.
for quite a long time since he basically come back from England. I'm pretty sure he's had issues with groins.
Yeah, did he have this issue at South?
I'm trying to remember whether he did.
I can't remember. He was at fullback at Souths a very long time ago.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was a long time
I don't
ago.
remember he got any injuries there.
Yeah.
But then again, he was only young
Yep.
too. So, no, I can't remember. I only recall a lot of his career since he's played with the Tigers.
When you injure your groin, that never goes away. It is always going to be a weak point, and you need to take care of it. I'm saying this from experience. My mother had a workers' comp injury with her groin, and back when Joey Johns was big, my mum had to have her physio with the same physio they went to. So I seen them all, and I was just like really excited.
And also, Joey was saying on a show, I caught a glimpse of on YouTube, that he was saying, like, he spotted the old mate had a groin injury because he's like, that's what it felt like. I had
Yes.
that industry. And like,
Yep.
and you could see with the tape and stuff that it's been taped up.
Yep.
I know what he's going through, and like, you know, it never goes away, as you said.
It's painful. It never goes away. And my mother, like even just a normal person, not an athlete, every time she'd move, she'd have the shooting pains. And it is painful. Imagine, you know, obviously getting out there and stretching and keeping it active, yeah, like it probably helps it. But once you back off and you're sitting down, it just kills you. And I feel for the guys because, yeah, once you injure it, it never goes away.
And last, rounding it out, Roosters Victor Radley has suffered a cheekbone fracture and he will miss this week's round at a minimum.
He's a worry. He's a real worry.
Well, I think he had to go off for HIA.
Another one.
I think that might have been the cause of that. So, yeah.
Too many. I don't mind Victor Radley. I don't mind him as a player. He's tough. But you've got to play with some sort of, like, I don't know. He's not valuing his body or his future. It's constant concussions. He's going to end up this year maybe retiring, from head concussions. It's not good.
Yeah, because he's not old either.
No.
He's not old. He's only a young bloke, but he puts his body on the line. That's I mean, you can't blame the bloke.
Which is, as fans, we want players
That's
to
what
do.
you want to see. That's what you want to see.
Maybe it's just poor technique. I don't know. I don't know.
He's just getting in there and just knocking
I like
him
him as a
around.
player. He's
a great player. He's a great player. He's great to watch.
Yeah.
Hard as nails. He didn't want to go off that furl.
No.
And you could see he was furling it, but he wasn't. He didn't want to go anywhere. It's puts his body on the line every week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what's happened, and I think it's gonna come back to bite him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, whether it's this season or next, it keeps happening. They're only going to allow a couple more. And they're going to have to pull the pin on it.
When you turn your back on Origin and make yourself eligible for England, these things happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, that's the NRL news for this week. We will take a break and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Now we've got another segment, Gazbag, and it's brought to you by the Next Level Takeaway. Jace.
Thanks, Corey. Gary, I hope I do well for you here. If I don't, it's all back to you when you come back. But yeah,
You're already doing better.
This already? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if that's biased or not. First one's from Craig M. What's your thoughts about music being blasted around the stadium as soon as there is a stoppage in play? I don't like it.
I love it.
That's great.
A stoppage in play, no.
Keeps the crowd enthused.
It does.
You've got to keep the crowd in the game.
I don't know if anyone's been to a game, if Craig's been to a game, but when you go to a game and the music starts playing, the atmosphere just pipes up. You're sitting there, you got a beer, you're excited, you're watching what's going on, but it's not awkward quiet. And then you can't hear people booing and carrying on. And then you get like the country road and then everybody's singing it. You know what I mean? Like it's quite atmospheric.
Sweet Caroline, yeah. Cotton Eye Joe, nah.
No, definitely not.
So, Jason, why do you think, like, why no for you?
I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I think I'm probably the oldest one here. Oh, sorry, Marchie. I'm the oldest one here.
Hang on.
Yeah.
He's 23.
23. He's an Eels supporter. Yeah, 23. That's hard.
Yeah, I am.
hard life.
The grey hairs from being an Eels
In
supporter.
1986 when they won their first comp. Well, their last comp.
I guess I'm just, I don't know, old school. I don't know. I don't mind after a try scored or,
Like I say, I just think it keeps the crowd involved. Like you've got to keep the crowd involved. If you lose the crowd, you lose the atmosphere.
100%.
And that's all I think they're doing. I don't mind it.
Yep.
I don't mind it. Like I don't go to a bucket load of games, but I do go to quite a few games during the season. I try and do 4, 5, maybe 6 games. And it's not all Parramatta, by the way, because sometimes it's not worth going to. But I just feel that it does. It just keeps the crowd there, keeps the atmosphere going.
Yeah.
If you, like I say, you lose that, then it just goes dead.
I guess you're right. Little kids would like that. The kids will like the music coming on, I guess. I don't know.
It pumps the crowd up. You can see it. Like, and they play the songs, what's that, Hey Baby song?
Yeah.
Hey Baby.
Or the one when someone gets sent off for sin bin.
But even like, the last game I went to was last year, was a Knights game, and you know, I like my heavy music, and when they play Hell's Bells, like that is so cool. When they play Akka Daka Hell's Bells over the whole stadium, it's so loud, and it just adds to the thing. And the price of the tickets.
You
Crank
need the entertainment as
Crank
well.
some damn music in the in between because
you do pay for them.
I will wander. My mind. I'll be looking in the crowd, looking for weird stuff. You know, like it's. I think it's a good thing. 100%. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway. I am old school because I have hearing problems because I was a musician forever. But I understand your point where you're saying like maybe volume. Maybe volume's probably the thing. Like the pump up, I get the pump up as an entertainer, as a family entertainer. As an entertainer, I get the pump up and the keeping them enthused because again you're paying for it and all that stuff. But I do think conversing with the people you came with is also pretty cool. Or like going you're like the people next to you that aren't on your side are going like cheering them up and stuff. Like there's that sort of camaraderie, banter and stuff that you kind of miss if it's too loud. But
so
really,
I can stand both sides.
But really, it's not that loud. The crowd's what's loud. So when you're there and they do play that Hey Baby song or Sweet Caroline, when I went to Luke Combs, Sweet Caroline was that loud. We had a little autistic boy with us and we had to take him out because it was that loud. It was louder than Luke Combs himself. So when that's going off, that's the loud part. But if they're just playing music, it's loud, but it's at an audible level that you can talk.
Yeah,
Yeah, you still converse.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's been a while since I've been to a game. It's been a while.
Well, I don't know if all stadiums are like that. I have only gone to McDonald Jones because I have bulk kids, so I don't have the joy of being able to go.
Combank, you can't really hear the music.
Bulk kids is my favourite way.
Because it's just loud. It's just loud. Like it's a pretty
Just
decent
obnoxious?
stadium. No, it's enjoyable, but like I say, the music's there, but you don't.
Oh, you can't hear it.
It's there, but you don't. Don't notice
Maybe
it.
it all comes down to acoustics now as the grounds and stadiums are built.
Yeah, the way. Yeah, yeah.
How
Like
old's
Melbourne
Combank?
with the partially covered.
Combank.
Back probably, what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
Oh, so it's only
I wouldn't
new.
go more than
Yeah, it's only
6.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if there's a reason why. Because, McDonald Jones, how old's that? That got a revamp a couple of years ago, wasn't it? 10 years ago?
Yeah, it'd be about 10.
By the way, it looks like it's still got scaffolding around it. Took a real good look at it the other day. I'm like, what's going on
Hasn't
here?
changed much, has it? It's still the same stadium.
That's a good question.
It was.
Yeah.
What about you, Corey? We didn't hear about what you thought.
It doesn't really bother me, like with his music or not. Like, at the end of the day, like it's entertainment, really, isn't it?
You're staring at the players, aren't you?
That's
Imagine thinking about boats, looking at players. That's what he's doing.
yeah.
Thinking about motor boating the players.
That's true.
That's sick.
I was worried about the tugboats.
Anyway, what's the next question, Gazbag?
I don't want to go. This hasn't got a name attached to it, but the paper's torn, so apologies for whoever asked this. Which current player would make a great coach?
Yeah, Corey.
Nathan Cleary.
Need time to think about that.
Yep.
Nathan Cleary, following the steps of his father. I think he's got a lot more to add to the game than what he has already done. Like, people are saying, what more can he do? He can coach.
Yeah.
I think he'd be an awesome coach.
Yep.
He's got the knowledge. He's very smart. He could teach a good young halfback, 5'8", the know-how. Like I say, I just see him. He could definitely follow in his father's footsteps.
Yep.
100%.
I'm going to go with Daly Cherry Evans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Won't
When
argue.
he's got the experience.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, he's clean skin. Like he's got the runs on the board there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's good, especially even if he's not a definite NRL coach. Definitely a halves coach in some way, shape, or form, or assistant coach with the backs.
I think he's definitely got a lot longer of a career than what they're
Yeah.
going to write him off as a player. 100%. Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge. I don't want to be a captain picker here, but 3 come to mind. I reckon Adam Reynolds be a good one because he's quite. Yeah, he's again experienced, seasoned. Kalen Ponga, he's tough on his boys. I think he'd be very much like a Wayne Bennett type of coach. I'd like. Bit of a controversial one, Jerome Luai, because I don't know if anyone watches him in the games, but he's very much pulled a page from Kalen Ponga's book, and you see him on his boys, like telling them where to go. And they've been making some great plays.
That just comes from experience.
It does.
But that also comes from coming right through the ranks with Cleary.
100%.
And
That's
Tyler
right.
And Crichton and all
Like
the
he's
others.
been in that Penrith system for a long time. You know, he's worked under Cleary. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah.
And same with Isaiah Yeo. He's
there you go.
he'd be a great coach as well.
He'd be the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Probably
you
one
wouldn't.
out of the pulling one out of the area, but and it was actually I was trying to think of Boyd Cordner earlier, but I think Boyd Cordner, very, very, very smart footballer,
Yeah.
very knowledgeable footballer, and been around and done a lot of big things in his career.
Is he still in the system at the Roosters?
I'm not sure whether he's still there or not.
in some capacity.
Last time I saw him, he was in the coaching sort of area.
Yep.
Yeah, like in the background sort of
He
stuff.
might
but-
have one of the junior teams.
yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean,
But I just think just pulling one out of the air, because we're all talking about halfbacks.
Yeah.
Basically halfbacks and 5'8". You know, Jason Rolls is. I know he's at Parramatta at the moment, but he's come through a good system as well.
Yeah.
And he was a decent player in his time too. So Boyd Cordner for me is possibly probably a smoky to be a decent sort of coach coming into that as well.
especially going back to Jason Riles. You know he hasn't started so well yet.
Yep.
But
He's got a future. He's got a long career.
time.
Yep.
You know, and he needs the cattle around him.
Yep.
So, so
He's only just started building. He's got a long way to go. We have still got. There's still going to be money in the salary cap. There's going to be a few more shuffles and shakes in the next couple of seasons to get it to where he wants it. He's not going to walk in and get the team exactly how he wants it.
no.
That just doesn't work.
Well, he wasn't allowed to poach any Melbourne players
No.
for 12 months
Yeah.
as well. So that was part of his.
And there would have been, I would say, there was talk of 3 young Melbourne players that aren't playing grade down there. They're not playing first grade down there. That were touted to come with him, and then it did get knocked on the head. So possibly, 12 months down the track, there might be a bit of a change
Who's
on
that
that.
backup for? What's his name again for Storm that backs up for Pappenhausen? Young bloke. He's a Melbourne Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a junior from down
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Anyway, I can't remember his name off by heart, but get back to that. But yeah, he's a good player and he'd look good in another team, and Jason Riles might pick him up.
I mean, we were talking earlier about players from Melbourne going to other clubs. You look at the coaches that have come from the Melbourne system, like Jason Riles, Anthony Seibold, Madge Maguire. These guys are coming from a really, really structured coaching environment, trying their best at other teams. And it took Seibold a while, but he's going
Starting
all
to get
right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Madge went, he won a comp with South. He did well at New Zealand, won something with New Zealand. He won Origin last year. So he's,
I still believe, though, to make a good coach, and I know as good as it is, you've got to have good players around you too.
oh, for sure.
Look at Wayne Bennett, for instance. Look how long he's done it for. He manages them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the that's where I see it. So, So.
Chad?
I have 2. I think Nathan Cleary would be great. I think Nathan Cleary. But my other one would be the Sydney Rabbitohs mascot. It'd be real good. Because I
think we
reckon
could all learn from him.
no, he might have to do a junior team because he likes to push kids around. So I reckon he'd be really good for that. That's mine.
Yeah. I
That's
would have
good.
said Cherry Evans as well. I think he'd be a very, very, he'd have a very tactical mind.
Yeah,
He'd be
definitely.
similar to your Ricky Stewart or like Joey Johns' mind, or even Matthew Johns has got the better footy mind, I think, than Andrew Johns.
Don't say their names in the same sentence, for God's sake.
I always thought it's probably a bit controversial statement, but I always thought Matty was a better player than Andrew. I just thought Andrew made himself. I don't know. I always thought Matty was just better.
Joey-
just
Joey just had that talent.
yeah.
Matty had to work for it, and
Yeah.
you could tell with their style of play. And I always say, because people say, who's your favourite player? And I always say, Laurie Daly was my favourite player ever. the best I've ever seen is Joey. So I have to make that discrimination there.
Yeah.
But Matty, I heard stories from when Warren Ryan was coaching the Knights, and they said that Matty was coaching the team, basically.
Yeah.
So, rightly or wrongly, you hear stories that Warren Ryan lost the room, lost the shed, lost the players. Matty coached. I don't know, but if that was true, I could see Matty coach. And there was talk about the Johns brothers coaching Tonga or Samoa at one point. They put themselves together as a package.
I think it's Samoa.
Yeah, and it didn't happen. I don't think it ever will, but yeah. But no, I'd say Cherry Evans for the current crop. Just very tactical.
It was a very long way to say Cherry Evans.
I did say at the start, and then I blew it out a bit. So that's on me.
Go on,
Sorry,
tangent.
guys.
Tangent Tuesday.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Gaz. You can have it back next week.
It's all right. You did good, mate. You did good.
All right. Third one. You good?
Yeah.
After 4 rounds, 62 insured players are out injured or getting injured every week. It's an average of around 5 a week.
15 a week it was. 62.
15?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
15,
62, yeah.
So it's a lot. And you're bringing the younger players through the systems, and this is why I said, I think last time I was here, I think I was talking about the women's comp, but I think I'll go back to the men's comp. If you're going to keep losing this many players to injury, especially early on, because you get more injuries early in the season, you're not going to get a 18, 19, 20 team comp because it's going to be no talent to spread across all the teams, including injuries.
Well, this goes back to, like, a lot of the players talk about player burnout.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, you get paid a lot of money.
Yep.
You know, and you play a certain amount of games a year. Yeah, they win you, but also their training techniques as well. The wrestling, you know, that's come into play over the years. Like that causes
It's your favourite part.
Yeah, it causes a lot. Yeah, Greco.
See, Tarpany he didn't get charged. He got penalised for a chicken wing on the weekend. I haven't seen a chicken wing
Now I'm hungry. Great.
It was a full-blown
years.
chicken wing.
In years.
Yeah, it was a decent chicken
It was a
wing.
good one. He had a couple of goes at it.
Yeah.
But good on him. He's a raider.
Do you,
That's
have,
good.
do you have any sauce with that chicken wing? Or?
Well done, Joey. That's great.
I didn't realise they were doing like Macarena and then the chicken dance. Like, why are we just, come on, guys, play footy,
Don't worry about Pizza Hut.
Well, this is Melbourne brought the wrestling. If you remember, the Pioneers.
Yep.
Every other team's playing catch up. So yeah.
Look, just something to interject on here with you say about a lot of players being off and then you're getting all like the younger ones, the lower division coming up and playing for the teams. Going crazy, I think that's great. Like, it's shit that the main people are getting injured, yeah, whatever, but it gives the younger ones and the reserves more of an opportunity to show why they get picked for these positions to be a backup.
Yeah.
We've seen it. What team was it? Yeah, last week. The Roosters? I believe it was the Roosters, maybe. When they versus the Panthers. I think it was. And anyway,
Yep.
I digress. But you watch those younger players come up and they performed. They really, really performed. And that was great. And I think it's a great opportunity for those younger ones to come up and show what they can do. And I just hope that these teams will hold on to them and keep
I
them in
think for
there.
the younger players, it's
shot.
like they've got nothing to lose.
100%.
They come out and just play their balls out.
Everything to prove.
Especially if they're told, right, well, such and such is out for 2 to 3 weeks, that you've got to step up. You've got to put your name on, stamp your name on it. So you look at Jai Gray.
I was just about to say, they brought in a backup from Latrell.
So
He's playing
Latrell
better
looks
than
like he's
Latrell.
going to the centres
Yeah.
because he's not going to get a fullback spot.
And Jai Gray is actually leading the Dally M's right now after 4 rounds.
But you watch, he'll get punted as soon as Latrell comes back.
Yeah.
Well, no, Latrell's back this week.
back to centre.
And he's playing centre this week.
Is he?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
I've
correct.
missed that.
Yeah, they're talking centres for him. It's the only spot they can fit him in.
I tell you what, Bennett will be the only one with the balls to tell him to play centre.
Well, and that's what's been his issue for the last
He
couple
is
of
a
seasons.
way
No
better
one's
centre.
told him.
He's a way better
No
centre.
one's told him. No one's given it to him. Wayne Bennett doesn't take it from anyone. And that was. I mean, you have a look at Latrell. Like I saw a photo of Latrell and it didn't look like him.
No.
He's lost that much weight. For me, that's a good thing for him. He needed to shed that. And I've got a touch on that actually what we were talking about earlier. I've got to touch on that on another player in the competition at the moment. I was actually very surprised how much he looks like Latrell Mitchell at the moment.
Yeah.
And I actually mentioned it to a mate the other day that's a South supporter, and he sort of looked at that player and he also said the same thing to me. So, but getting back to where we were, Latrell centre, Joy Gray's keeping his spot.
Good. Good.
Yeah, which is good. Good. It's good for Souths.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
That's it.
beautiful.
Awesome.
Any more?
Nah, that's it.
That's it.
Yep. You saw yours
Awesome.
next week, Gary. Hope I did. All right.
All right, guys. Well, that's the Gazbag for this week. We'll take a break and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Now it's time for What Caught My Eye.
Oh, my eye! Ow, ow!
And we'll start down the line to my right. Jace, what do you got, mate?
Thanks, Corey. What caught my eye was the Manly supporters' reception of Cherry Evans when he ran out to play and during the game. I thought everybody would have thought it would have been negative and quite bad considering his intention to walk away from the club. But they were pretty good. It was very positive, considering it's Manly. It's very positive. It's good all round. He was happy. He played a good game, and he's professional enough to play a good game anyway. It wouldn't have put him off his game if everyone was negative. But I thought that was really. I don't think I've seen that before, where someone's decided to walk away from the club at the end of the year and have the supporters be positive about you.
So that sign, that Manly sign that's up every week, is that everybody hates Manly too? That didn't have it this week, everybody hates Cherry Evans?
No, didn't have it. The week before, I don't know if you saw it.
I did see, I did notice that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that was a
cancer.
nice touch.
That was a nice touch, yeah. So, but that's what caught my eye. I just thought it was weird, but no, good on.
That was my one as well. I thought it was quite great to see everybody rallying around him despite what's going on. So, yeah, I thought he would have been maybe booed or maybe not received as well. But no,
He's been a good player for the club though.
he has been great.
So he did deserve the support from the crowd. I don't, even though he is leaving, I still don't see how the crowd would have been disappointed in what he's offered the club for such a long time. Like 10 seasons is a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of players don't play 10 seasons.
No.
You know, and he's given basically his whole career to that club.
And like injury free too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Manly supporters, and I'm not stereotyping Manly supporters, they're a tough crowd.
Yep.
So to get that reception for someone that's said in round 4 or round 3 or 4, I'm leaving the club at the end of the year,
Yeah.
totally unexpected.
Yeah. I don't think they can blame him, to be honest. I mean, look at the effort he's been putting into the club for years, like as a player, and then you watch the likes of Dylan Brown come through and get offered $1.3 million. Watch Cherry Evans being paid. He's been injury free. He's been a consistent player, always shown up for Manly, and Origin as well. Just a great all-round great player. And look what he's on compared to other players that are not performing.
Question for the panel, where does he go? I'm hearing Roosters.
I still reckon Titans.
Well,
Still working tight.
according to today being April Fool's, it was for rugby this morning. No,
No, it was Parramatta.
It was the Eels.
yeah.
I actually thought that was real, and then someone said April Fool's. I'm like, oh, I feel really
If he
dumb.
stays in the NRL, I personally would like to see him go up and finish his career with Desi at Titans. Be quite interesting with the backflip.
It'd be very interesting.
Turn around, but or for me, getting as old as he is, he potentially, if he goes to Super League, would absolutely kill it over there. So,
Could he go to a club, considering he has maybe 1 or 2 years left, go to a club to mentor a young halfback coming through?
possibly.
Maybe. I still think he's got a bit in him,
Which
though.
is why, like they're saying Roosters, but then they signed Chad Townsend this year to maybe do a similar role.
Well, they got Sam Walker to come back from injury as well. So, I mean, Sam Walker's a pretty good player in his own right.
But
So,
then for a long time, whenever someone's come off contract, the Roosters are going, it's going to Roosters.
it's always the Roosters.
Does that form part of his contract. We'll give you 2 years, and you do 2 years bringing our next halves through. Where you get your likes of Joey and that. I know Joey was at Parramatta for a few seasons. It was reportedly $600,000-$700,000 a year to coach our halves at that time. Is that something that maybe might be extended into his contract? 2 years at a club, and then you stick around for 2 years and mentor,
or like be a consultant.
Yeah. I mean, they can pay him what they like after his contract. And that maybe bring that price of his contract up. 2 seasons with less money than what he's getting paid now, and then 2 seasons with the sky's the limits because it's not in the salary cap. Well, it won't be in the salary cap because he's a mentor.
No, you're right.
He needs to be paid more. Honestly, very underpaid player.
There's an option for maybe 3 or 4 clubs that could use him.
Is that a standard thing that happens where someone gets like brought over to then coach the up and coming? Is that like a normal thing that happens? I don't think it is, right?
Not a normal thing, but it is known.
Yeah, because I think we could definitely see that being a new like model for getting more benefit and also allowing players to receive more, like get a consulting fee on top of their fee, but their fee then keeps the cap down so they can have more access to more money, but they get as like admin or whatever to benefit everyone at the same time and get around the salary cap in order to bring up those new people as they're walking out of there.
So was it the auditors said his value is $400,000 a season? Did that come out last week?
Yeah, that was
$400,000 a season. So
set the cap at it.
That's absolutely ludicrous. $400,000 a season for a player of his calibre. You get an up and coming player on that money. Someone that's only been in the comp for 2 or 3 seasons and set the world on fire. Get in early, get him $400,000-$500,000 a season.
And Dylan Brown's on 1.2.
3.
1.3.
It's crazy.
But Manly I think that's offered him like, was it 1 point something for 2 years?
It was $600K, wasn't it?
Yeah,
a
600
year.
seasons.
See, this is what annoys me. You know that every year he's going to get picked for Origin. You know he's going to get picked for the Queensland team for Origin, and it's like I just don't understand the money part of that. When he's such a big player, I don't understand it. So. I don't know. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but he's worth more money. You know he's getting picked for Origin every year because he's that good, and I don't understand it. Why wouldn't they try and keep him?
That $400,000's just blown me out of the water.
It's I don't get it.
No,
I don't get it.
it's crazy.
Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know.
If he was injury
I still maintain
prone,
he's in one of the best forms of his career.
Oh, big time.
if he was injury prone, he got injured a lot, then yeah, you know, you could kind of understand it, but he's not. He doesn't get injured. He's got a bit of a shit attitude. I know that that's getting on a lot worse as the years go on, but
cranky old man.
I feel, yeah, he's getting older, but I feel maybe it's an attitude problem. You know, he's versing people that aren't performing as well as him, but that are on a lot more money than him. Yeah, they're younger, but they're not performing. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know, that's what I think.
fair enough. March, I'll go with you, mate, if you like, and we'll go Chad, and then I'll.
Sorry.
That's all right.
What caught my eye this week, summed up by Graham Annesley. We missed a lot of high tackles. Too many grubby shots in the game. Reid Marnie getting away with blue murder. Seriously, that was a shoulder. He dived on a player that was prone on the ground. I know you can do that, but to lead, you can see him actually leading him with the shoulder. How many high tackles? Annesley said 4. There was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
There was a lot more than that. There was a lot of shots to the head. I know there was a lot of shoulders that were accidental, and that's part of the game, and we've touched on that in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But, geez, there was a lot of shots that, to me, I'll go as far as to call them dog shots.
There was a lot of grub activity.
There was a lot of them. And for the referees to say, we missed that, how many cameras are on this game?
Yeah, what's a bunker for?
You can't fart without being picked up. Really.
Reid Marnie was interviewed after the game saying it's a tough game, you know, like it or lump it. One, he wears headgear.
Yep.
2, he's dived on a guy on the ground from behind
Prone.
and hit him on the head.
Yep. And gets away with it.
Nothing tough about that. And Reed Marnie's your classic example of someone that loves the no punch rule, because if punching was allowed, he wouldn't be doing any of this.
No,
and he'd be playing
100%.
park footy.
Yep, definitely. And like I say, I'm not just picking Reed Marnie out, because he wasn't the only one. There was so many, like I say, a lot of these shoulders are accidental. You get your slipping and all that type of stuff.
It was a wet weekend.
You get a tall player against a shorter player. I know the taller blokes need to start to learn to bend their backs, but some of those tall players, they go in to wrap the ball up. I get that, but when it's a blatant shot, where hands are pulled out of the road, players holding players, but then another player comes in and takes the player, it happens every week. It needs to be rubbed out of the game. They need to bugger this fining thing out. What is a fine? And we touched on this last week. A fine is an absolute joke.
I think we've slipped into what's giving me the smits right now. Please keep going.
And it's basically it needs to be Graham Annesley coming out after it's happened to say that it's wrong. It's totally wrong.
Rub out the fining system and rub the player out for a week or two. Just get rid of him. And comes back and does it again, put him out again.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll learn because he's become a liability.
Yeah.
Sorry, because we did. That's where we are heading with it.
But that's definitely
that's what caught my eye. It needs to change. It happens too frequently.
Chad?
Me, mine's just going to be, now with the seriousness of that one, mine's going to be, but basically I'm used to consistency in my life. I like the same cereal, I like the same. What the hell's going on with Titans right now? Because I'm a Titans fan, and they're kicking up. They're in the fifth position right now.
I know.
I'm used to disappointment. Come on, boys, what are you doing? What's happening? They're smashing it. What caught my eye is the fact that that's the third game in a row that we've actually smashed. Like
Rub it in.
Well, listen, you guys had a bye this week. It's okay, but yeah,
we won it though. That's the.
Honestly, it was a close run. It was a close run for the Knights winning that bye week.
Extra
Hey,
time.
you pipe down there, Mr. Eels.
I'm just excited about that. That's caught my eye. The fact we're through 3 weeks in my, and I'm where's my consistency? Where's my failing, guys? Come on, get back into it.
Where's the disappointment?
I'm used to being disappointed, and what are you doing to me?
Having whiplash from the emotion.
But no kids got knocked over this week, so that's a different thing.
That's disappointing.
Fair enough. Well, I'll finish, guys. My first one was this rule change that Andrew Johns has floated in the idea of NRL introducing a 5-point try if you score from inside your own 40 metres to encourage teams to move the ball, knowing to get it coming out of trouble to inside their own 40. It's worth 5 points, he said.
I don't mind it. Same aspect as a 2-point field goal.
Yeah, pretty
People
much.
come out with a 2-point field goal. People saying, I can't do that. People are kicking them. And people attempting a field goal from beyond the 40-metre line, and they're watching. They're like, this is going to be 2 points. Same deal. You create a 5-point try. I don't mind this idea. And it creates, you're not going to kick on every fifth tackle, right?
Yep.
Occasionally you're going to throw the ball and see what happens. And it creates a sense of confusion or whatever in the opposition.
Puts a doubt in the mind.
Exactly.
Puts a doubt in the mind of your wingers and your fullback getting ready for
I
that
might
kick.
be in the minority. I don't mind this idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's something that would be worth looking at.
It's innovative.
And if people want to say, in the traditional lesson, I don't like it, you look at every single rule change that happens every single year.
We've gone from a 3-point to a 4-point try. So that's in the tradition of it.
Yeah.
It was a 3-point try always.
And field goals used to be 2 points.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, my last one I have is the more crowd behaviour, poor crowd behaviour of the last 4 weeks, and it's a lot of it aimed at the team that I follow. So the first week was the pie chucking.
Yeah.
Second week there was something on as well. Well, this week was a member of the Dragons, or long-time supporter, was having a homophobic slur at Peter Goff last weekend. Come on, guys. It's 2025.
Yeah.
Get with the program.
Yeah.
Grow up a little bit.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It's only a game. If it
It's a
doesn't go
family-
against you, go against your side. Yeah, we all get cranky and whatnot, but we don't want to chuck pies at people and homophobic slurs. It's just a disgrace.
It's just a weak sledge.
It's a disgrace, and it's coming from a team that I've supported for 40 years.
Yeah.
Look,
You're old.
I'm just disgraceful in my opinion. Anyway,
Look, if you're gonna carry on like a grub and you want to do grub shit, keep it in your lounge room, in your shed, in your man cave. Don't take it out in public. There's kids, there's people out. Doesn't need to be. Yeah.
anyway,
There'll always be one.
that's it. Anyway, that was what caught my eye. Brought to you to our friends from Mayland Bathroom Renovations.
Good bloke.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Hit him up.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll follow into what player of the round, guys. Jace, we'll start with you, my friend.
All right, I was going to mention while you were talking about the Titans, and I thought, no, I'll hold off. But Tino, Titans are a shambles when he's not playing, and he's come back and he's just a machine. I think he's up there in the Dally M's, playing out of his skin, and like he's just leading. He's leading the team, and they're all following, and they're all, he's a classic type of like, right, I'll lead, you follow me, and they're just playing well. Getting the results, and Queensland team. So I'm not that fond of them, but he's got them going great. So well done. I think he's my player of the week.
Cool.
Mine would have to be ripper of a game, Jake Clifford from the Cowboys. 2 tries, 1 offload, 1 line break, 1 try assist, 3 tackle breaks, and 2 line break assists. Basically. Ripping through.
Certainly played. I watched this game. He's played some really, really good footy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ripping through the Raiders, like.
Yeah, okay.
That was just a bit of salt in the wound. But I thought the Raiders played really good too. They weren't too bad. I mean, they could have been better, but it wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
A little bit of defence mess up there, but
Some diamonds. You get beat by the Cowboys, but 2 weeks before you beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
So.
They were playing a bit away from home
Consistency.
too, so you got to think going from Canberra up to bloody it's North Queensland. It's a bit of a trek, so get jet lagged, but ripper game. Thought it was good. I really caught my eye.
Yeah. Margie?
Terrell May for me. He 48 tackles, missed 1 tackle out of 49 tackles. Pretty stellar effort there. 202 run meters off 21 hit ups. Workhorse.
He was mine last week too. He's been in
real good form.
Consistent form, and I mentioned this last week that Phil Gould has pretty much said if he keeps continuing his form, an Origin bench spot looks good. How good would that be on the bench? With Terrell May, Spencer, Mitch Barnett if he's on there. Like it's Holowali, Olkawatu. Like there's some
good names.
Good names in form at the moment for New South
definitely.
Wales. So
And if it's those type of players that are sitting on the bench, you'd want to be good to be keeping them on the bench.
That's right. You got to perform. If you're on the paddock, you've got to be. I'm here. I'm going to make the best effort I can to cope this bloke on the bench.
Because there are players that are gunning for your position.
Well, they're all in ripping form right now. So
we're looking good in the forwards.
that's right. Chad, what you got?
I didn't for Blake. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Adam Fanua-Blake.
Adam Fanua-Blake.
And I feel like that guy. I just saw his playing. It was really, really good. He even though the loss, smashed it out this week. I think showed form on the field. So props to him.
Very good.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I had Gerbat Shabaski.
Sorry?
Yes.
He swore at
Gerbat
me, though.
Shabaski from the Broncos.
Yep.
Former Knights player and Cowboys as well. 2 tries, 2 line breaks, 9 tackle breaks, and 186 metres gain. This is coming from a bloke who was only playing Japanese rugby last year, come into the playing park footy, was given a chance and making him a post where he won the medal last week between Broncos and Dolphins. So
he came to the Broncos under a train and trial deal.
Train and trial, that's right.
So,
Yeah.
no, that's good.
And he's keeping the likes of Dean Mariner out. So, so there's some, he's playing well.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Is it 5? He's got 5 tries. Is it 5 tries so far in 3 or 4 games?
I think so. Yeah.
So he's doing his job. He's doing a great job too. He's looking good.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that was what caught my eye. Sorry, not caught my eye. We'll play of the round. Brought to you by Kogan Haulage Contractors. We will take a break and we'll back with you. Welcome back, everybody. Now it's time for What's Giving Me the Schmitz, brought to you by Chateau de Fairhall. And Marchie, you've got something for us tonight, mate, to share.
Yeah, a continuation on from earlier comments with the grubby axe. The way the system's running these days with fines, I think it's something that's not. It's not right. When you're getting paid big dollars like these blokes are getting paid, and you're getting fines of $1,000 and $2,000, to me is an absolute joke. The shots that were put on this week, and it's not just this week; it's every week. Happens continuously. Players they're going to continue to do it. There's players in the game that are niggly at best. You could call them niggly, but realistically they're beyond that point. We all know a couple of players in the competition that are like that, and I don't have to state names on those players. But I think it needs to stop. Someone is going to get seriously injured. I think it was not this round, the round before, there was the milking of penalties. All that, it just needs to be rubbed out. They need to start penalising players, not just on the field but off the field. If you are involved in foul play and a player gets injured through that foul play, you shouldn't be fined. You're risking that player's career.
Yeah.
I've got a good mate of mine. His father's career was ended by a high tackle, and I'm talking wheelchair. Many years ago in a bush comp, never walked again. This is what we're doing in the game when we're not disciplining, when we're not finding those players. Well, not finding those players, not penalising those players with suspensions.
Yeah.
A continuation of that, then extend the suspensions. And bring back proper suspension.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joke.
I'm not a fan of the fining system at all. I think it was initially brought in for almost accidental acts.
Yeah.
Like if someone slipped in a tackle or, do a bit better, bend your back a bit better, blah, blah, blah. Here's a fine. Reed Marnie hitting someone on the head on the ground from behind is not an accident.
No.
He should be rubbed out for that. And as I said earlier, you rub him out, he comes back. If he does something again, get rid of him again, and he will learn.
Yeah.
And the coach will put a rocket up him. The team will put a rocket up him because he becomes a liability. And how often can you play if he's sent off or sent in for 12 players?
Yeah.
They will learn.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that a lot of these guys, because they're making so much money and they're doing so much and they've got so much cred, they're not. Everyone says yes to these guys. They say yes to them all the time. And the thing I think they've forgotten is, when mum used to smack them with a wooden spoon or something like that because they hurt their brother. Well, you're hurting one of your brothers. If this person ends up in a wheelchair or even just is hospitalized and they're potentially risking their career, why do you get to still go? Why shouldn't you be sitting somewhere thinking about what you've done? Go to the corner, see what you've done, and we'll come back when you figure it out. If you don't, keep going back and back, because I think these, as I said, these guys are getting said yes to all the time by everyone around them, and so if you come down hard, the only rules are it's going to affect their pocket. They don't care about it. They're making squillions.
They're making squillions.
Squillions. So
your key word was accidental. If it's accidental, why should you be punished?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's an accident, and you can tell when it's an accident. You can see a player slip.
Yeah.
We'll go back to Reece Walsh last year. Okay, that was accidental.
Yeah.
State of origin.
State of origin.
Yes.
It was a falling tackle.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened in that tackle.
Yeah.
Yet we see a player rubbed out of the game, and then we see a dog shot of a shoulder to the head, which is just as dangerous as a high shot.
Yeah.
Because it is still a high shot to the head, and nothing from it.
I would think, I don't know how many other times Reed Marnie's been fined, but he'd be getting past that stage now or soon that it won't be a fine. It'll be a suspension of some part. And this is what I don't understand, maybe coaches intentionally do this. They get fined 10 grand for speaking about the refs badly. And Reed Marnie gets $1,800 for hitting someone in the back of the head from behind.
Yep.
Don't understand.
And so a coach comes out and says, which, Sticky's one that does it all the time.
Oh, he
comes out and speaks his mind.
Got to be broke.
So if the coach had to come out and gone off his, gone troppo at the referee about that decision,
That's 10 grand.
it's 10 grand.
Yep.
But like you say, and that could have quite easily happened.
Yep.
It could have quite easily happened because I would have been fuming in the coach's box. Watching that happen to a player of mine laying on the ground, getting hit like he got hit, and then finding this player gets nothing.
Yep.
$1,800. What's he on? 700 a season, Reed Marnie?
I don't know.
I know he left Para for a decent amount of coin.
So if Fitzgibbon comes out in the media conference after the game and says the ref stuffed up really badly with this decision and not sin binning Reed Marnie, right? So he gets 10 grand for stating facts.
Yep. That's wrong.
But the NRL doesn't want to hear that.
Yeah. I don't understand it. So what happened to the point system? So you graded up to 100 points for each incident.
Demerits.
So you demerit points.
Yeah.
So what's happened to that?
I don't know.
So has that been replaced by the fining system?
Don't know.
They need to go back to that. Like if you're sitting on 75 points and the slightest misdemeanor gets you 25 points, so you're going to sit out a week.
I think that's still in play if you get charged with something like someone has this week and it's 2 weeks with an early guilty plea. If you go and challenge it and lose, I think that might be the demerit system coming into play there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've lost track of. I don't like the fine system.
No, the fine
End of
system it shouldn't be there. It should be gone.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't understand it because it's not. There's no value. What do they get? Where's it go to? Who does it go into a player fund for injured players in the future? I know the jockeys do that with the racing.
Yeah, it might do.
So a percentage of prize monies, I think it's from the top of my head, it's 2.5%. Of prize monies from each race. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth. 2.5% of that money goes into a fund for jockeys that get permanently injured. And get rubbed out of their trade. Is that where that money goes?
I don't know. That'd be a good question to ask where that money goes.
Solid question.
Christmas party.
That's a really good question.
Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
Slush
You
fund.
wouldn't. You honestly wouldn't. And I believe that the clubs should be held more accountable for these kinds of things because the clubs can come down harder on them. And I don't know.
Is accidentally getting tackled head high, is that bad form? Is that bad? I know it can accidentally happen. Yeah, bad technique.
Yeah.
Is it bad in the way that it can be corrected? Or is it just accidental? I know accidents happen, but could we train? Do this, or don't raise your arms above your shoulders or whatever.
It's a bit hard in the moment though when you think about in the play, like
But when you look at
conditions as well. If it's a wet, slippery
They
field,
fall everywhere,
and
they
you've
can
got
do
people
stuff.
running over it for the last 63 minutes, you come flying through the slide, a slide tackle by accident. Like these things happen. I guess they kind of put it all in the same basket because you can't sit there and say, that one was an accident, but this one wasn't. And if they were to have a distinguishment between the two of them, how many people then are going to turn around and go, oh, well, it was an accident. It was an accident. Everyone's going to say it's an accident.
Yeah, but you
because they
can
want to
tell.
get away
You can
with it.
see it as
You
an
can.
accident, though.
Yeah.
Like you can see accidental. What you were just saying with technique and stuff. Most of these guys have been playing since 6 years old.
They're professional footballers.
They're professional
being paid a
footballers.
lot of money.
Technique should not be an issue. If you've played your whole career the same way, someone should have stopped you in under 8s, under 9s and said, hang on, you need to start bending your back.
Yeah.
Which is why it comes back to being yes men, and it comes back to being like people being yes around them, and them going, oh, that's fine, and then not learning. You've got to learn. Like that. As you said, the fining system. We'll go over it again and again. It sucks. They get paid so much money. Why are they doing that? Just get them out, put them out, and then you know what? If you do it 3 times, you're out for the season.
They will learn their technique will change if that's the case.
Well, Reed Marnie again, like stiff arm someone across the face on the weekend.
Yeah.
And I've seen this before, and that's not accidental. I've seen these things before.
It's a
and,
grub act.
they might get sin binned and they come back on and play the rest of the game. You go back 20 years or more, international football, Australia versus England, Adrian Morley clubbed
It was
a strong
Yeah,
player.
it was Robbie Kearns.
Robbie Kearns,
Yeah.
across the face. 12 seconds into the game, got sent off.
yep.
There's England playing a whole test match with 12 players for every minute by 12 seconds.
Yep.
Yep.
Needs to be done more.
Yep.
Needs to be done more.
End of the day, I don't understand the whole grubness of this kind of stuff because, you know, everyone deserves to be safe at work and this is people's jobs. These people's
They're trying to
livelihoods.
get advantage.
So why
That's all
would
it
you?
is.
Yeah, I know, but why? Like, just in the thought process of it, like you wouldn't go to your work. Say you worked in a factory or something, you wouldn't go and just lay your elbow into somebody. Like that's not what it's about. It's a sport, and it's broadcast on
That's
live
what Adrian
TV.
Morley did.
Someone said the other day, Reid Marnie's the new Michael Ennis. Michael Ennis was not that bad.
No, but they remember where they had like the grub book where it was passed down for
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
He wasn't as bad as Reid Marnie.
I don't know.
He was niggly.
He was niggly.
Mick Ennis was
but
niggly.
I don't think he was as dirty.
He wasn't as dirty. He was niggly and he did really
Michael
well.
Ennis.
Yeah. So I just think that that's something that needs to change in the game. Needs to change in the game, and then until that happens, I don't see it changing the way the players are playing.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that really does need to be stamped out because it will come back to someone getting very seriously injured, and then who's at fault? Who's it fall back onto? You know, it's got to fall back on the NRL somehow.
Suspend them and fine them. Hit them
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
They'll
If they're repetitive.
They'll learn.
If they're repetitive,
Yep.
100%. Yep.
Anyway, guys, well, that was what's given me the smits this week. We'll take a break and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. It's time now for the week that was. Unfortunately, Elliot can't be with us tonight, so hopefully he'll be back next week. And the week to you was brought to you by Harry Snitchels.
Yum.
All right, guys, we'll get into the Thursday night game. It was the Rabbitohs 28 defeating the Panthers 18.
What a game!
Well, if you're a South Sydney supporter, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's good to see I'm not a big Souths fan myself, but to see an underdog team come up and go someone head on like the Panthers like that, that was great. It was great watching. It wasn't a super boring game, which was, there was a bit going on. You can see slowly over the last few weeks how much work has gone into Souths from Wayne Bennett, and I believe that the last 2 to 3 weeks has been a true showing of what he has done to bring the club back up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Latrell comes back.
Which is Latrell will be back this week.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see whether he'll listen and take everything on board and get involved. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting game next week for sure. But this week, yeah.
And coming back into centres.
Yeah.
Joy Gray keeping him out of fullback position. But I think Latrell is probably a better centre than he is fullback.
He's
Yeah.
a way better centre than fullback.
He's
but
lost a lot of weight too.
Well, with the weight, do you think maybe he would?
I think he's going to be faster and harder.
Yeah.
He definitely looks fitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Souths are going to gain quite a bit with him coming back into the side. Last season I would have said different. This season I think it's a turnaround from what he was last year.
Do you think there'll be much head-to-head between him and Wayne Bennett?
No. No, Bennett will put him in his place. That's what Latrell needs.
Latrell had one game at centre last year that I can recall, and that was at Origin,
Yep.
and he played out of his skin.
Yeah.
He's just a better centre.
Just needs to tighten that attitude up, I think. And I think Bennett will be a good fit for that to tighten that up because it gets a bit loose sometimes.
Well, like I say, you have a look at him last season to this season, and purely on the weight loss and the fitness side of it. That's Bennett talking to him.
Yeah.
That's not Latrell saying, I'm going to get myself fit. That's you get yourself fit.
Yeah. Or he's just going to keep injuring himself.
He's saying that when the South players heard Bennett was coming back, I think the onus was on themselves to do something about themselves as well.
Yeah.
Not just be told by Bennett, because they're going to think, Bennett takes no shit. I need to get myself in order.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you think Panthers... I mean, again, there was another game of two halves here. The Souths led 28-0 at half time and, Penrith came back. But Panthers, guys...
I think Panthers on the downfall this year.
1-4 so far. Is it too early to panic? Oh, I don't think so. I think, they get some troops back this week. Cleary's back. Dylan Edwards is back. Unfortunately, Toho's going to be missing a few weeks, but they can probably cover for him. But... I don't think. I think Penrith are still okay at the moment. I know they've lost a couple of games, and it's the first time in a long time they've lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
So I still think they're a top 4 side this year for me.
I don't know about top 4. I reckon they're missing fish. Big time.
One thing I think is a bit of maybe an unpopular opinion, but Dylan Edwards really pulls a fair bit for the Panthers.
He does.
And you've noticed I've noticed from him being off, 100% it's come down a little bit. So Cleary out as well, that makes it a bit difficult. But Dylan Edwards is a standout missing for me.
Edwards pulls in massive numbers.
He does.
Every time he plays.
He's a great
He's
player.
Just a massive effort player.
Well, he's back early this week from that injury.
I hope it's not too early.
Yeah, that's what we we're talking about before.
Panthers are a side too that they can put 10 games together too.
That's right.
So you can't write them off yet.
No, still
they've got to be halfway through the season in a similar position before you start writing them off. And even then, they're still going to make a charge to the 8 at least.
Well, they're making scores, so at the end of the day, they're still in.
Well, they haven't won 4 comps in a row for nothing. So
That's
right.
never write those guys off, and they never know. They're never dead. So
One thing you notice too with the game, when you're seeing Cleary, he's always looking for Luai. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but that's such a big hit for them. I think this year they're going to suffer because he's always waiting for Luai to be there.
Yeah, but these guys are trained professionals. They, every week that someone or every year someone drops out of a side or leaves to another club. So, and they've had.
But 4 years doing the same thing.
I get that, but they've had 3 months of pre-season training, having Jack Cole in that position or Dane Laurie or whoever it is that's filled in that position. They're professionals.
One thing Penrith do well and have done for some years, and I'll give that to Melbourne as well, is that when someone's injured, they pull someone up
From nowhere.
that no one's heard of
Yep.
and can play that exact game, the exact same skill set, the exact same style. And it's like they don't miss a beat.
Yep.
I think it comes down to Ivan as well. He's a very good coach.
Yeah. All right, guys, moving on. We'll start with the Friday night game. We've got the Roosters up against the Titans, and the Titans ran out winners 30 points to 12.
That was a shock. That was a massive shock.
Well, the game was in the balance for a while, and the Titans really put it to them, the sword, in the last 15, 20 minutes. And it was wet conditions as well. I think the Titans this year, and I've said this from previous years, they've got a great back line, and their halves are pretty good, and their forward pack with Tino coming back this year has added it's like an extra new player back into that side. And excuse me,
I'd go so as far as to say Tino's brought back the energy of 2 players.
Yeah.
He's been playing good football, and he works for his mates too. It's not just him that's out there; he's out there for everyone else as well. Which that's there are other players in the comp like that, but he definitely for me is a pretty good standout for just his leadership in hitting that ball up and doing his job. He's playing really good football. I think it's probably one of the best patches of his career.
It's chalk and cheese, the Titans of last year without him to the Titans this year with him.
Yeah.
It's 2 totally different football teams.
Well, I'm very impressed with Jaden Campbell this year. He's been a standout for them at fullback. I know with the game I was watching, he saved a couple of tries and scored the length of the field an intercept. Like, this guy's, he's starting to get into a mature footballer now. He knows his game. I think, this Titan side, are going to be a smoky for the 8 this year, I feel.
I noticed afterwards in the sheds when they were singing the victory song, so they don't win too many games, the Titans, and they all had sheet with the song, right? And they're all trying to sing it off the sheet, and Brimson's banging their ski with his boot, and it's like.
Have they changed
my
their
football
song?
team's like
But
that.
have they changed their song though? That was
Well,
I did see that on the Matty John show.
have they changed it, or are there more newer or younger players?
Yeah.
Or are they so not used to winning that they don't know their own song?
This is it.
This is the thing. I think that's they are so not used to winning that they're like, oh gosh, everyone hand out the hymn sheet quickly. Everyone learn it quick.
Well, they
Grab the hymn sheet.
want to get used to singing it. So I think they've got quite a few more wins in them.
You might have to sing the song this year, Chad, if they
We might get that might be a live show.
That would be a live
That
show
might be a
thing. I'll have to
live
get the
show.
guitar out and then not play it and tell you to bugger off. Because I'll leave it to the Titans.
Feed you a couple of bourbons.
Just on the
bourbons,
Roosters,
definitely, yeah.
I still maintain what I said after the second when I was here, that I can't see them too much further than the bottom four.
when does Sam Walker come back, guys? Do you anyone know from his ACL? It'd have to be halfway through the season.
Yeah, he's still got quite a few rounds, but I just think they'll be too far gone
Yeah.
by the time he comes back.
I thought it was most of the season.
Yeah.
That's why they brought Chad Townsend down for a discount rate.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely missing him, that's for sure. Anyway, moving on. The other game on Friday night saw the Dolphins up against the Broncos, and the Broncos ran out winners 20 points to 12.
That's not shocking.
A pretty tough game, actually.
I thought it was a good game. I thought it was good in the conditions.
Yeah.
Because it flogged down.
It was
pretty
very
much the whole
wet.
game. It was just it was reasonably good, solid, hard football. Which is what that's what you watch. That's what you want to see. You don't want to. You're going to see a few floggings, and we're probably one of them that's going to dish out or land a couple of big floggings this season. But you want the tighter games.
Yeah.
That's why people go and pay to see. They don't.
Yeah.
You're not going to go and watch a team get beat by 40 points every week. You want to see good, hard games, and we did get a few of them over the weekend, which was good to see.
The Broncos are coming out in form this year. They've just kicked off the line hard.
Yeah.
And they're getting it without. I don't think Reece Walsh is there at the moment. I don't think he's playing really good
I
football.
think he had a better.
It was a better game
He's
than his
been
last,
rocks,
last
but on
two
the
weeks.
weekend he played
Yeah.
better than he has all
Defensively.
year.
Yeah.
But he's still not where he was when he got called up to Origin.
Payne Haas has been the player.
Oh yeah,
Broncos this year.
Maguire's
Adam
teaching.
Reynolds.
Maguire as actually is coaching Payne Haas very well.
Yeah.
You get that guy for 45 minutes, 50 minutes to say, for instance, make a huge impact. He's got him working where he wants, and that's it. Yeah, mate, and he's damaging.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's laying the platform for these guys. Just for the Broncos winning games.
Dolphins played better. I just want to touch the last time I was here, which was the first show of the year, and you mentioned the Dolphins finishing with the spoon, or close to the spoon, and I sort of agreed with you. And Dean was like, nah, coach is too good, they won't finish with the spoon. But it's a classic Wayne Bennett hangover that happens to a team after Wayne Bennett leaves.
Well, I guess we'll find out at the end of the season where they finish up. But, look, it's only early days at the moment.
Of course.
But, look, they always say, more games you lose, you're due for a win. So,
There's a market out to see who gets the first win out of the Dolphins and the Eels.
Well, I've put my money on the Eels to get the first win this week. Anyway, I'll keep saying it. Anyway, moving on. We'll go with Saturday, and I was, obviously highly impressed with this. Dragons 14 upset the Storm 8.
Good game. I picked and backed the Storm, and I should have learnt from last year because they did the same thing. I don't know what the go is there. It's so bizarre. It's like, it seems to be their weakness, like the Titans with the Knights. The Knights are coming out in form, and then they verse the Titans. Boom.
Well, I read
Dragons played well, but the Storm were off.
Yeah.
they look. There was wet conditions, and you don't make that as an excuse, but they did drop the ball a couple of times close to the line where it could have scored. Gave away a few penalties as well. I mean, so did we too. I mean, gave a lot of penalties, and we were quite aggressive, and we had to do that to match the Storm forward pack, and might have rattled them a little bit. I don't know, but Defensively, we were extremely strong on our line, which is something that I haven't seen for quite a long time. Attack-wise, we'll obviously get there, but it was good to see too, because obviously 2 weeks earlier, our coach was, pretty much giving a serve to a lot of his players, and they all, responded. They had 2 weeks to mull over it and responded quite well. So
Your first win of the year is against the Storm. You're doing all right.
Yeah, and we're paying $7 on Sportsbet, so if anyone got out there and got money on it,
Oh, the bet slip's still in my
yeah.
and I just didn't have the balls to do it.
And Gutho's.
Well, that's
Look
that.
straight in.
Yeah, look, like Dragons' gain is Parramatta's loss, and I'm sure Marchie's probably feeling a bit upset about that. But look, I believe that. I mean, Gutho, he's surprised me. I wasn't a huge fan of Gutho. He's come to the club, and his leadership has been second to none. He's not the quickest player around, but his talk, everything he does from the back of the field is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
So. And a bit of form too for Val Holmes. Unfortunately, though, he needs to get his kicking boots on.
Yeah, what's happened there? He's generally reliable.
He's missed a lot of goals so far this year. He was potting them from everywhere for the Cowboys. But anyway,
I feel
you
sorry.
Got a good backup with Gufferson anyhow. So
we've got a few backups there. I think Elias can kick as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few goal kickers if we need to. But Val Holmes is our sharpshooter, and he hasn't really sort of set the world on fire with his boot yet. Anyway,
I just want to put my thoughts out there to the Storm players from previous week. Bellamy would be kicking him in the keister. So
probably
lots of doot kickings going around there. So
I did see Laurie Daly in the change in the up in the box with Bellamy. So
I thought he was going to die at one point. He looked like he was just.
Valentine Holmes missing on his dog's safe.
yeah, he is.
Controversial, anyway.
I won't sit here and talk about my team all week. I'm happy with the win, but at the end of the day, a week's a long time in NRL, and it's how they back it up. Anyway, we'll kick it off with the after game on Saturday afternoon. It was the Cowboys with their first win of the season, 30 over the Raiders 20.
Yeah, move on. No, look, it was. Again, it's the whole rocks and diamonds thing. Canberra comes out and beats Brisbane, and they're like, oh, they're going to make top 8. They're going to be, young side, they're going to do well. And then 2 losses on the trot, and it's like, what's going on? So they can't blame travel. They won at Vegas, so...
Well, they've had to travel a lot. They've gone from Vegas, they've gone to, back home, obviously, and then they've gone to New Zealand?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then to Townsville.
Yeah.
They finally get a bit of a breather and back at
They'll
home.
be cheering like next few weeks, a bit of the season. They'll be all in one sort of area.
Well, Vegas is counted as a home game, apparently, for them.
Yeah.
So,
Still, they've got to travel. That's the lot furthest they've travelled.
Yeah, but so do 3 other teams, and it's a neutral ground, so...
Well, Sticky's not complaining at the moment, so...
not yet.
He can't afford to.
No, he can't afford to, no. And good on him for coming out there and saying that, KO Weeks has been supportive because, look, they have had a bit of a deficiency in the high ball in the last couple of weeks that has led to a few tries. So that's an area they need of concern they need to address. So,
yeah.
Anyway, moving on, the last game of Saturday night saw the Sharks and the Bulldogs played in Sharks, and the Bulldogs ran out winners 20 points to 6.
That was a good game.
Oh, the Dogs are a tough side this year. For me, like I thought after what they dished up last year, and they've backed it up this year so far. Look, I see the Dogs as top 4 easy, the way they're playing.
I didn't see any of the Saturday games, as I spoke about earlier. I did watch some of the highlights of that game. The Dogs pack is not a big pack.
No.
The Sharks pack is massive.
Yeah.
And they got beat in the forwards.
That's right.
I think Bulldogs have a mobile pack.
Yes.
But you don't need, like, Canberra's got a huge
So that's where Para's gone down that path, and it hasn't worked for Parramatta, but it's working for the Dogs. They've got blokes that are doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing against some of the blokes that they're doing it against.
Depends who you come up against as to if you need a big pack or a mobile pack.
Yeah.
It doesn't work against every team.
And the Bulldogs' defence is going back to the old days where they used to be called the Dogs of War, mate.
Yeah.
They're coming back this year.
They are defending like they're, life
Also,
depending on
dare
it.
I say it, the entertainers.
Yes. Yes.
They used to be called that as
Yes,
well.
and they're winning without Kickow and Burton at the moment, and that's a good thing.
Yep.
So, anyway, last two games of the round, and on Sunday we'll kick off with Manly, the Bin Chickens, winning 26-12 over the Eels.
Easy win.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I mean, we are getting better each week, but it comes back to the same thing for the last 4 rounds. Handling, ball handling,
Yeah.
dropping off tackles. You can't win games with the mistakes they make.
Corey, maybe you should go teach them how to do ball handling.
Well,
No,
Yeah.
I'm only at the boats, mate. That's okay.
Oh,
I mean,
the base.
Only if you wanted to show him about docking, that's different.
Whoa.
Manly for me were off their game as well. I'm trying to roll on with this.
Sorry.
No, Manly were off their game. I don't think they played anywhere near their potential. Luckily for us, I don't think we kept ourselves in the game by making Manly make mistakes, but Manly did make a lot of mistakes that I thought was very uncharacteristic of Manly.
But as you said, like 26-12, you'd think that was convincing, but Manly didn't play that well, and it's probably
Manly
I
played
think
well
with,
in
with that
patches.
scoreline doesn't tell you Manly won ugly, but
No.
They did. They won. I mean, I was actually expecting a lot worse than what it turned out. And Para did not keep themselves in that
plus
game.
Turbo didn't play a second half.
I mean, and you
True.
have and look at all NRL games, like the possession and, and everything like that, and you get the roll on and whatnot, and you make a mistake, and, I mean, you could be not having the ball for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what leads to 3 or 4 try, and that's what blows games out. But, yeah, look, Manly weren't at their best, but they still got the job done. So,
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the ball was pretty much 50-50 about 15 to 20 minutes into the game. By half time we had 31%.
Yeah.
So that last 20 minutes of that
You would've
first
had the
half,
ball.
we didn't have the ball.
yeah.
But ball handling,
Corey?
poor kicks. Trying to get out of your end. You got to get out of your end. There's no half kicks in it. You got to get out of your end. And until that ball handling changes, I think it's going to be the same merry-go-round for the Parramatta until it happens.
I think with the handling and the errors, I mean, it's
I'm glad you said handling.
Nice.
not
Yeah, I
ball
was
in
going to say.
I-
cut that down. So I'm sick of you two laughing. and
Grow up,
Margie
would
and I
ya?
carrying the show.
You back for me?
Very soft.
Was going to be when Corey gets hold of you.
The first look, it was crap weather last weekend. Plus, you got to look at the early rounds of the season, like the first 6 or 8 rounds, where you are going to make more errors and you are getting used to gameplay and how the coach wants you to play, how the bloke next side of you, alongside you, is playing. There's a lot of things to get used to in the first 8 rounds. So, yeah, a lot of errors, but you got to expect that, especially in round 4.
But like I say too, you can't win a comp in the first 6 rounds, but you can definitely lose one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's and I spoke about that the other day in last fortnight when I was last week when I was here. I said if they don't win this weekend, they're getting to the point where they can't make the 8. That's what's going to happen because at the moment they're not showing anywhere near enough to say we can run and win 6 games or 7 games on the trot. That's not going to happen.
Well, that's it.
That's not Parramatta.
Unless you're winning games in the first 10 rounds,
Yeah.
it's hard to catch up. And I know a couple of years ago the Knights had that magic run of 9 or 10 in a row before they reached the 8. Not all teams can do that.
Yeah.
You got to start winning games early on, so you're not trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, the last game of round 4 saw the West Tigers and the Warriors ran out winners 26 points to 24.
This was a tight game. This was a very tight game.
Correct.
Oh, it was had me on the edge of my seat when I seen them take that penalty kick. I was like, no, like I was hoping for a golden point, but I just want
That's
to.
the only golden you were holding for, weren't you?
Oh, don't bring this into it.
Golden Arches.
Golden Arches.
Did you just call me fat?
Shit, no.
But I'm hoping to see the Tigers come up good this year. So far, seeing Jerome Luai, what he's brought to the club actually working together, it's been good. So I would like to see them come up. I was surprised with the Warriors, but
Well, the Warriors, you're right, and I will touch on that, what you just said, Court. The Warriors have impressed me since their first round debacle in Vegas. Like
Yeah.
they've come back and they've won 3 on the trot.
Yep.
They very rarely win away from home.
Every home game they
And
tend to win.
Like they were in the fight with this. It was a topsy-turvy game, and I thought the Tigers eventually would run away with this. But to their credit, the Warriors come back maybe with a couple of decisions that may have in their favour, but that's footy. So, so I just
I think
Won it with that penalty kick.
Lockie Gowan had a couple of things that didn't go his way in the game as well, which I thought he didn't play to what he's played. And it was only minor mistakes, but they were costly mistakes, which kept the Warriors well and truly in that game.
Yeah.
A side like the Warriors, like you say, they've got 3 on the trot now. They are putting sides away. Whether they're going to keep that run going, time will tell. But I think that was probably the difference for me was Lockie Galvin's couple of mistakes he made. As small as they were costly. Unfortunately, because he's had such a good start to the season, and I thought that was what cost them.
anyway.
Well, that round, I got to say, like I was that confident in last week's round with my tips. I used as a joker round, and I got 2 from 8.
So the joke's on you.
Put jokes on me. It was just full of upsets.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only 2 I got were Manly and Brisbane.
Yeah, anyway.
I was shocked with the Dragons. I didn't think they'd be able to pull that off again 2 years in a row, but the Tigers game, I was rooting for them. Oh, I was waiting for a funny joke. I was rooting.
You've already said pulled it off and rooting. So where you going
Listen,
with
there
this?
was ladies. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, where you going with
It
this?
was too easy. Too easy.
But yeah, I was rooting for them, hoping that they were going to win. And I mean, they're 2 pretty good teams. I feel equally about both of them. So yeah, I don't know. Rough round.
Well, that is the week that was. We will take a break and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back, guys. Time for Crazy Ladies Jokes of the Week, and it's brought to you by our good old friends at the Sign Shop. Port.
So I'll be filling in for Kylie today. Big chair to fill. So sorry if I'm not as funny. And I'm a bit special, so reading is not my forte. So bear with me. All right. A Chinese man named Corey moved to Australia after years of living in Shanghai. Sorry.
A lot of Chinese kids are called Corey.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Doc King.
A Chinese man named Corey moved to Australia after years of living in Shanghai. He bought a small property at Mount Isa. Soon after, his friendly Aussie neighbour Adam decided to go across and welcome the new guy. But on his way up the driveway, Adam saw Corey running around his front yard chasing about 10 hens. Not wanting to interrupt these Chinese customs, he decided to visit Corey the next day. The next day, just as Adam was about to knock on the front door, he saw through the window Corey urinating into a glass and then drank his own urine.
Oh, my God.
Wait, is this a joke or is this real?
Keep going.
This is a diary entry.
Again, not wanting to interrupt another Chinese custom, he decided to put the welcome on hold for yet another day. I would. A day later, Adam decided to give it one last go, but on his way next door, he saw Corey leading a bull down the driveway. He then paused, then put his head next to the bull's bum. Adam couldn't take it anymore, so he went up to Corey and said, "Geez, mate, what the hell is with your Chinese customs? I come over to welcome you to the neighbourhood and see you running around the yard after hens. The next day you are urinating into a glass and drinking it, and then today you have your head so close to that bull's bum." Corey was taken back. "Sorry, sir. You no understand? These no Chinese customs? I doing these Australian customs." "What do you mean, mate?" asked Adam. "Those aren't Australian customs." "Yes, they are. The man at travel agent told me," replied Corey. "He said To become true Australian, you learn to chase chicks, drink piss, and listen to bullshit.
That finished really well.
I didn't know whether to bang an accent on there. I didn't think that
Please
would
do,
be
yep.
appropriate.
Good choice not to. Good choice not to.
I've copped it 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, you cop it every day.
Something straight out of Jerry Springer.
Next one. A widow and a widower live next door to each other. They had been neighbours for over 30 years, but each had lost their spouse not too long ago. Over a number of weeks, they had become close. One day, the man named Dean asked the woman named Kylie if she enjoyed fishing. Yes, she replied. She used to enjoy fishing with her late husband. Dean agreed to pick Kylie up at 6 a.m. the next morning. They went down to the river. At the time, they decided the next day and began fishing. Began. After a while, Dean began to move the boat upstream. They came to a fork in the river, and Dean asked Kylie up or down. I bet he did. Being nice, he wanted to let her decide. Kylie looked around, promptly took off all her clothes and jumped on Dean. Another diary entry. Damn.
Goodness.
Oh my God, I've lost it.
So we know.
Oh, where did it go?
Jumped on Dean. That was
Jumped
the last
on,
bit.
yeah.
Jumped
They
on
had a
Dean.
moment of passion. After a while, they redressed and resumed fishing. Later in the day, they came to another fork in the river. Again, Dean asked up or down. And once again, Kylie stripped and another round of passion commenced. That evening, upon arriving home, Dean asked Kylie if she would like to go fishing again the next day. Kylie agreed. A little after 6 a.m. the next morning, they got to the river. As they came across the first fork in the river, a hopeful Dean asked Kylie up or down. Down, Kylie replied. A little surprised, Dean headed that way. After a morning of fishing, they got to another fork. Up or down? Dean asked. Up, Kylie said. Wait a minute, Dean said. Yesterday, when I asked that question, you took off all of your clothes and we had a passionate moment a couple of times. What's going on? Well, Kylie replied, yesterday I forgot my hearing aid and I thought you said fuck or drown.
Again,
I leave us the good ones. Kyle left us the good ones. Thank you,
Nasty.
Kyle. Thank you, Kyle.
Great, I get to christen my first F word on the show.
You did.
Done it well,
Definitely
too.
did.
after the
Definitely
night
not
we've
my-
had, you christened it with that word.
And definitely not the first F word of the day. Let me tell you. That was at
absolutely
7 a.m. this morning, thanks to my child. One of my bulk children.
She bought them in bulk.
Costco.
Costco.
Oh, you're
Guys, the
me.
synergy in this room is
Give me-
Going
electrifying.
off the night, isn't it?
Last joke. Last joke.
Last
Let's go
joke,
for it.
guys.
Let's
All
go.
right, you ready?
Yep.
All right. Got your ball handling under control?
I'm fine.
All
My
right,
hands
cool.
are up.
Hands on
Your
the
hand off it.
Yeah.
International Space Station. Jack.
Okay, Gary walked into a bar and says to the bartender, 10 shots of whiskey, please. Oh, that sounds like my kind of night. I'm going out with Gary. The bartender asks, what's the matter? Gary says, I found out my brother is gay and marrying my best friend. The next day, Gary comes in again and orders 12 shots of whiskey. The bartender asks, what's wrong this time? Gary said, I found out that my son is gay. The next day, Gary comes in the bar again and orders 15 shots of whiskey. I bet he did. Then the bartender asked, doesn't anyone in your family like women? Gary looks up with tears in his eyes and says, apparently my wife does.
Oh, that's that signed shot money going to great use. Great use. Thank you.
One more.
No, that's enough.
Yeah. Well, do you have one more? How quick
There's
is it?
one more.
All right, one.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
All right.
Hey, we're on a roll. We're on a roll. We're on
I'm
a roll.
being funny for once in my life. Don't you cut me off. God no.
All right then.
Just one F word and owns it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm on now.
All right.
Okay. A trucker named Dean, who had been on the road for 2 months, stops at a brothel. He walks straight up to the madam, drops down $500 and says, I want your ugliest woman and a grilled cheese sandwich. The madam is astonished. But sir, for that kind of money, you could have one of the prettiest ladies and a 3-course meal. The The trucker replies, "Listen, darling, I'm not horny. I'm just homesick."
That was well worth it. That was
yeah, well included.
I felt like a stitch up the whole time.
Well, that's the humour for tonight, guys.
Thanks,
So,
Kylie.
Yeah, well, I think we'll take a break after that and repose our thoughts, and we're back with you shortly. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for you now for Talking Schmidt, brought to you by our good friends at the Juice Bomb. Caller number 1, mate. Who we got?
Michael from Melbourne.
Hello, Michael. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. On the
That's
panel, we've got
good.
Marchie, we've got Courtney, and we've got Jason.
Hey, champ.
All right,
very
how are
good.
you?
G'day, guys. Yeah, good.
What's your question for us, pal?
I was actually thinking about Dylan Brown coming across to the Newcastle Knights, obviously, and yeah, not liking his form at the moment. So, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, he certainly
hate it.
hasn't set the world on fire for Parramatta. We can probably ask the Parramatta supporter on to my left here.
Yeah, mate, he's all
Yeah, I
yours. He's all yours. I haven't been a fan of his for a couple of seasons, to be honest with you. He did nothing last year at all whatsoever. Like we spent most of the season once again without Mitchell Moses. His time to shine was then. Unfortunately, it was a pretty dull light to come from him, so there was no shining at all. And he's continued it this season when we need him the most. A lot of errors and a lot of stuff that's just not working. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, mate, he's all yours. Thank you.
Yeah,
We don't want him either, Marchie. We don't want him either.
That's right. That's right. 100%.
He's your modern day snake oil salesman. He's going to get all this money for doing. Like he's not coming with a good rep, so he'd want to improve a lot when he gets there.
Like I said, what's going on in the night sheds at the moment? Like, we're just making all these stupid calls. I think it's a stupid call. Like, if I seen an article the other day about Parramatta wanting to get rid of him early because he's just not performing. And you can sit there and say because of Moses not being there.
Walker's just turned up.
But
Gets his first game this week. So
at the end of the day, if he needs Moses to perform, then what kind of a player is that? It's not a $1.3 million player.
he should be the one.
right.
He should be the one running that team at the moment.
100%.
Unfortunately, he's not.
And he is not pulling his weight.
Yeah, I'm like I say. All yours.
And everyone's caning him too. You know about it. You know what I mean? Everyone, all the NRL
Everyone's
world's
booing
caning
him.
him.
For a while, I shudder to think how many years, but the Knights have just made some really poor decisions in recruitment. So he's not the first.
bad.
It's been going for a while.
You look at Newcastle's grand final, 90, 97. Probably 80%, 85% of that team come from the Hunter Valley.
Yeah.
Where'd that go? Why did that change?
Newcastle used to have the biggest and best rugby league nursery. Penrith have it now, but now people, now young boys or young men in Newcastle apply their trade, get their training, get their skills and their knowledge, and they're picked up elsewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fletcher
junior
Sharp will
system.
be the next one.
The junior system's not the same at Newcastle.
No.
And I've seen that firsthand in the last 2 years. And unfortunately, for some reason, it's gone awry. Where, like I say, they've got players in that competition, in the Hunter Valley competitions, that could definitely be there.
There are some good players.
And cheaply.
definitely. Yep.
Like, we're going to, I reckon we will end up letting Fletcher Sharp go because they just don't know
Hope
what.
not.
Oh, I hope not either, but I think that'll be on the cards. He's a very big up-and-comer, and with the shots that they're calling at them, it's really hard to follow your team when they're just constantly making bad choices and letting you down.
Fletcher Sharp's worth will get bigger and bigger.
100%.
Oh,
Now, you're going to have to cull him to pay for Dylan Brown, pay for whoever else that's
And
up and
$2
going.
million for Kalen Ponga. I just want to interject that again for the 23rd time today. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, isn't it what? The amount of money they're paying, and they don't have the team, essentially, you know, so...
If it was
which
for
is
someone like...
disappointing.
Yeah, 100%. If it was somebody like Cherry Evans or someone that actually performs and you know, comes off injury-free and making big plays for their team, then fair enough, you can kind of justify that sort of money. But this kind of money for a player like that's just not really doing anything. He's just a body out there. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Gives me the
100%
smits.
Agree.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Too.
Oh, and they've also just let go of Will Price as well. So
Oh.
you know, like
Yeah.
you know, they didn't get
Personal
the guy.
reasons, apparently.
Yeah, personal. Yeah. They didn't give the guy a chance just quietly.
No.
Anyway,
No, that's right.
uh,
Anyway, yeah, what do you do?
No.
No, well, thanks for that.
no
Yeah,
worries,
good.
mate. Well, thanks, mate. I appreciate your call. Very good question.
No worries.
Yeah. Anyway, mate. Well, hopefully you can speak to us soon, eh? Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, it'll be great.
Right,
And
mate.
you've also gone into
All
the
right.
draw for our caller of the week, where you could win a $200 gift voucher for Sayers Inc. Or you
Oh, cool.
win $200 cash.
Cash from Nighttime Podcast and Smitter Foundation.
Yep.
Oh, excellent. That's great.
Cheers, Michael.
Right, mate. Well,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Nice to
mate.
talk to
And
you, mate.
ladies,
Yep. Yep.
have a good evening.
No worries. Look
Thanks,
after,
mate.
look after
Take
yourself, mate.
Thanks, champ.
All the
All right,
best.
all right,
Take care.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Caller number 2. Who we got?
It's Mark from Bundy.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, buddy.
That's good, man. We've got Marchie, we've got Courtney, and we've got Jason on the panel tonight, mate.
How are you, mate?
How you going?
Yeah,
Beautiful. How are you all?
Yeah, good, thank you. How's
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, good, mate, good.
that's good, mate. What's your question for us, pal?
Mate, just wondering if any of you guys have seen last weekend's game, about 23 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the first half, the little knee that Nico Hines put into Bailey Hayward's head.
I missed that
I
one.
miss that.
Yeah.
No, well, and I'm just surprised, match review, the whole lot, none of them's come back with any answers as to questioning why he hasn't been suspended, why it wasn't looked at.
Was that a sliding? Was he sliding into that?
No. He was walking from the front of the play around to be a sort of dummy half.
Yeah.
And as Bailey Hayward's getting up, he's put his hands on his shoulders, lifted his knee, and hit him in the head.
No,
so
totally
none of you guys
missed that
seen
one.
Oh,
Did
No,
the
totally
ref or
missed
the
it.
bunker pick that one up?
No.
Well, you'd think they would, but
Oh, they
it was
didn't.
so it was intentional?
No.
Oh.
well, to me it looked intentional. You don't put your hand on somebody's head and lift your knee into their face.
Oh, that's a Melbourne coming out of him.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go and watch that now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
have to have a look at
There's
it. Yeah,
23
definitely.
minutes, 7 seconds to go in the first half.
Yeah, right.
And,
okay.
That's pretty specific. But the only
Hang on, what was it again? Sorry?
way
23
or
minutes
the
and 7
only
seconds.
way I can think
To go.
that
To
wasn't
go.
picked up is because he's not that type of player. So maybe it wasn't picked up because of that, and you've got your known players
But
that are
there's
niggly and do that.
50,000. There's 50,000 cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
What's the point of the bunker if they're not picking this kind of shit up?
oh,
Really?
I mean, and it's not something that, if you see the video, it's not something that's easily missed.
yeah.
It stands out pretty big. And I'm just,
Did any?
I think Nico's one of those players. Everybody loves Nico's. Nico gets 3 points when Nico shouldn't get a point. You know, he's a favourite for everybody.
Was he frustrated at the time, do you think?
I think the whole team was frustrated on the weekend.
True.
Aidan Fanua-Blake proved that when he pushed in the face.
Yeah, that
I
was.
mean,
yeah,
They come out to bully the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs
Yeah.
stood up to them.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. So you're right. So frustration brought. Yeah,
Not often you find a half would do something like that.
no, but that's frustration there from two blokes that you wouldn't
You wouldn't think
know,
would do
like
it.
Fanua Blake and Nico Hines, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And the funny thing is, the Sharks got the penalty.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. There must have been an infringement in the play of the ball, but the Sharks got the penalty.
Wow. Wow.
So
Referee,
Another quick question.
referee makes it up at times. But anyway, yeah, keep going on, mate.
quick question: who's your 5'8" for New South Wales next year?
Next year or
Next year.
Or this,
This year coming
This
up?
year?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, everyone's going to say Jerome Luai, but if you look at the Tigers, the young fella's out playing Jerome Luai every week.
Galvin.
Lockie Galvin.
Yeah.
Ricky Galvin.
Yeah,
and I think he's got all the credentials.
Luai's sort of taken a seat back. I don't think Luai's been playing reasonably well. I don't think he's been playing anywhere near his best. I think, and I think he is sitting back, letting Galvin do his thing, which was what my fear was, because last year Galvin had a really good season. He played really well. He kept the Tigers in most of them games last year. I know they didn't finish obviously really well, but they were thereabouts. And it was all on the back of Galvin. I don't know whether that's a coaching tactic, whether Luai's there just in case Galvin is off his game. And
But I mean, it's a big move. It's a lot of money to
I
pay
know.
for somebody that's able to sit back.
I'm not sure if Galvin is quite ready for Origin, but in
I know
saying
he's young.
in saying that, they said the same about Alan Langer when he first came. He was too
Yep,
small, and
and
he came out and killed it. So, what do I know?
Galvin's young, but
Yeah.
his kicking game, to me, it seems like sometimes he's 2 plays ahead, like some of the better players are.
Origin's a different box of cheese, though.
It's
You'd be
massive.
pressured a lot. He'd be, I don't know.
Those camps would be hectic.
I'd get him in the camp for the 3 games
Yeah.
and get him around the players and the culture and the coaches and whatever else. But,
I like your thinking, Mark,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, I think just not the right time. But as Jason's just touched on, get him in that camp and
Exactly, yeah.
exactly, and get him around the group and so that. But yeah, Lockie Galvin will be an Origin player down the track.
I believe he will be, yeah.
He will be, just not yet. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's the right opinion, but Jerome Luai is the incumbent and he's got the runs on the board at the moment. So, yeah,
the name in the face.
I just feel he's sitting back a little bit too much.
But if he gets injured, Luai, just before Origin, who knows? Like, it'd be, open sort of out there, whoever gets the spot. But yeah, but it's a pretty good question, really. So,
but even if
I'm
they,
a Doggy supporter, and I'd like to say Matty Burton, but I don't think he's a centre, 5'8". I think he's more of a centre in Origin sort of football.
I think Burton can play 5'8" just as well.
Burton would be good as
He's a good 5'8", but I think Origin time, I think he's more centre sort of position, not so much 5'8".
I think Burton would make a good 14 in the Origin arena.
Yeah.
And between you guys and us, we could make a good centres combination.
Yeah. One
with the Knights and the Dogs.
One bloke that I'd like to see in the centres, if you're going to go down that line at the moment, if it's a Doggies, is Bronson Cherry.
Yeah.
Mate, gun. Absolute gun.
He's had a great year so far.
Week in, week out. I was a bit saddened when he made that mistake many, many years ago with whatever he'd done.
But he owned up to it. He didn't lie about it. He said, he put his hand up and said, you know what, I did the wrong thing. He worked his butt off to get back with it. And, and I thought he was pretty good last year, but this year he's got even better. And,
I think so. And he's one of the most exciting signings we had in the last 2 years in my eyes.
100%. Well, you're going to get a good one next year in Leo. So,
Is it next year?
Yeah, it is. It's next year. Yeah.
They won't let him go early, eh?
No, I don't think they will. No.
I don't. Well, with all the stuff that's going on, I wasn't sure. We had a little rumour going around that we were going to get him early and stuff like that, but
Who
I
knows?
can't see it happen. I don't want to see it happen, to be honest.
Well, the Knights would be stupid if they decide to let Leo go early.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see him stay there for the year.
Yeah.
This cutting contracts early is a bit frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans.
It happens a lot now these days, and it's I don't agree with it, but I don't run the NRL, so anyway. All right, mate. Well,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, keep going. What are you going to say quickly?
I don't think the blokes that run the NRL really know how to run the NRL sometimes.
No, you're right there, mate. Yeah.
Must be the same bloke that runs the Knights.
Hey.
Hey. I was speaking to one of your fans the other day, and we drove down from Bundy the other week, and we watched the Knights play the Dolphins, and massive crowd, but the atmosphere was lacking. And I'm not sure why, but it felt like the atmosphere was lacking at before, during, and after the game. Like we went to the Bulldogs game, and it was just like off the planet.
Just to interject there, was that the Thursday night?
Yeah, it was a Thursday night game.
Thursday night, 8 p.m. Like, that's a pretty late game in the middle of the week, I feel like. That's probably...
But it was a fair crowd.
Mark, at the Knights-Dolphins game, did they play music at every stop in play?
Mate, now you ask me something. I'd driven 14 hours before I got there and played a round of golf.
So a bit of sunstroke.
Day, so, yeah, I was a little bit sunstruck.
We spoke about earlier and whether we liked it or not. So, you said the atmosphere was lacking, so it was, just
and I think sometimes the people, I know I went to the Dragons game the same weekend, and the bloke playing the music, they sort of go on a bit too long with the music, and the play's already got back into it, and it sort of drags it away a little bit. I don't mind the music, but so long as it's stopped in sufficient time for the play.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Oh, mate, well, that's an extremely, really, really good question you posed to us
That was a good
tonight, mate.
question. I like that one.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That was good.
Yeah. You're in
Happy
the...
to,
yeah, keep going. What were you going to say?
happy to be a Bulldogs fan jumping on your podcast.
Anytime, mate. We take all fans, mate. It doesn't... Yeah, that's... Yeah.
I
Any-
actually,
Any league.
I actually sent Chris a few photos of my man cave, and it's a bit out there.
Oh, well.
So
Yeah, that could mean anything.
Yeah.
anytime you blokes are in Bundy, you're more than welcome to come and have a look.
Oh,
Might be a
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
Cor-
that could mean anything.
Corey will be there to look at your man cave anytime.
Yeah, got a few interesting things in here.
Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah, pretty much just packed blue and white. So
Yeah, well, it's good to see that you support, mate, your team, and you're loyal, and that's that's all that matters in this in this day and age. So
mate,
you know.
we've got to have something to hang on to.
that's right, mate. Look, I'm a St George supporter. I've been for 40 years. So yeah. So it's just you stay loyal to your team. So
I've got the Dogs finishing near the top 4, mate. So
well, that's that. Yeah, I think the top
Yeah,
four are
definitely.
easy, mate. I know
I think we're a definite top 4.
yeah.
to be honest.
absolutely.
Final, I don't know about this year. I think when you bring Leo Thompson into the team, I think that's going to be a massive boost. I think, unfortunately, I was looking forward to him coming over, but Tom Amone, I don't think he's up to the standard at the moment, up to NRL standard,
Yeah,
which is
fair.
a bit sad because there's talk that he might be sent back or go back
Yeah,
to England, which is unfortunate.
yeah. All right, mate. Oh, mate,
Beautiful.
we'll leave it there. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. A really, really good question, and I hope to have. And we might get you on again one time, mate. That was really enjoyed that. So
Mate, anytime.
you'll go into
Just
the
give me
draw
a-
for the caller of the week too, and say his in Teddy voucher and $200 cash from the Nighttime Podcast and the Spinner Foundation, pal.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Enjoy the show.
Right, mate. Take care.
cheers, mate.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
boys.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Caller number 3. Who we got?
James.
Oh, hello, James. How are you?
Yeah, good. Mine's a 2-part question.
Hmm.
The first is, what do you think of Samuel Stone Street taking over for Kyoto? And the second part is, where do you think the Sharks will finish this year?
I like Stone Street. Was it Qatar was out for a couple of months, Indy, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, right. I like the Stone Street. And what was the other one? The Sharks, where they'll
We'll
finish?
finish, yeah.
Yeah, they'll finish this year.
Look, top 8 for me. That's all. Yeah,
The start of the year, I had them finishing
Yeah.
4th, but after they got beat at home by the Bulldogs, I got the Bulldogs finishing 4th. You got Brisbane, Melbourne, Penrith, Daylight, and then Bulldogs and whoever else. But yeah, Sharks top 8, but yeah, probably near the
I reckon just under the
5
8,
to
if
8.
I'm honest. I reckon just under. If they don't make 8th place, I think they'll make quite a bit under.
Who have you got finishing above Cronulla?
Oh, it's hard. I haven't really put together my ladder of what I think yet, but you've definitely the Storm. Penrith, the next few games are going to determine whether or not they're going to be up in there. I think the Broncos are definitely up. I reckon the Tigers, to be honest, I think the Tigers might get in the 8. I don't think they're going to make bottom 8. Bulldogs for sure. And then it'll be between Manly, the Knights, and maybe even the Titans, I'm thinking this year.
I've got the Rabbits in there.
The Rabbits.
think the Rabbits will be
Oh,
in there.
yeah,
Oh,
true.
that's easy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
they're
just...
definitely going to be in the 8 well and truly. I think they'd be in the top 6, I think,
It's a totally different culture at the Rabbits this year
Yep.
than
Yeah.
last year.
100%.
I'd call the Sharks at 9 to answer the question. I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'd-
say, honestly, under 8, they're just not performing this year.
Actually, the Rabbits, yeah. For me, they're flying under the radar.
Yep, yep. And
It's like
they've got a couple back coming back too. So, I think the big one is Latrell. He'll make a massive difference when he comes back to that side. And they are cruising.
Yeah.
It's like Courtney said, like Nico is a bit lost at the moment,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking he just needs to, get in his mindset again. But who knows?
Yeah, something's going on there. I hope he's all right. I hope his mental health and he's keeping that all in check. I know he had a bit of I don't know if anyone's heard a bit of his backstory, but he had a pretty rough childhood. So I hope that he's doing all right, because you don't want to see anybody go through, everyone has their moments. But, hopefully he gets his shit together, because he doesn't look real well at the moment, if I'm honest. He's looking pretty down, I would say.
Do you think Nico needs a break? Or maybe just, maybe a week or two on the reserves bench, or...
Could be a bit of burnout. Could be something going on in his private life that we don't know about either.
Yeah, but burnout in round 4.
No, but
mental
I don't think
burnout.
He needs a break. He just needs to do what he's doing every week. Just improve. That's all you can do.
Is he scared of injury? Because he's not long come off injury at the end of the season, didn't he?
I don't know about that. I think he's just lost form and he just needs to regain it.
The good thing about that is if he does get injured, at least Atkinson can slot in that 5/8 spot. And, because he hasn't had a lot of running, poor old Daniel Atkinson. And it just seems, like he's ready to go. He's a young bloke, and I understand why South are taking him at the end of the year, because it's like he wants to play instead of sitting in the reserves.
Yeah. But at the moment, Trindle's just taken over the running of the team.
Yeah. Oh, well, James. Well, that was a extremely good question, mate. You go into the draw for the tattoo voucher and $200 cash from the Nighttime Podcast and the Spinner Foundation, mate. So, hope you enjoy the show, and we'll talk soon, eh?
Oh, yeah. Anytime.
All right, pal. Look
Thanks,
after
James.
Cheers,
All
mate.
right,
Have a
bye-bye.
good night.
You too.
All right, bye. Well, guys, that's talking Schmidt for this week. So, who are we going to give to for the call of the week, guys?
2.
Two. Yeah. Mark. Unanimous decision?
That's something to have a look at.
That was a really, really thought-invoking question.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Question 1 was great. Question 3 was a great question as well. But
Mark's question threw me.
Who's
available for 5/8?
I'm going Mark. So, Mark, you are the winner this week, and you go into the draw at the end of the year for the Sayers Inc. tattoo voucher and the $200 cash from Nighttime Podcast and Spinner Foundation. Anyway, mate, that's all we have for Talking Schmidt this week. We will take a break and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time to you now with Team this Tuesday and brought to you by Extreme Indoor Go-Karts. And I must say, it is a great place to go to.
I can't wait. I haven't been, but I've heard lots of great things, and I'm so excited to beat you.
Yeah.
Haven't been. Dean keeps saying, come along, but I'm scared of finishing last and getting a tattoo.
Yeah, well, it'll be the first time for you, wouldn't it?
That reminds me our resident... That reminds me our resident... Mr. Vassallo has to get another one this year too.
Yeah. What's he getting?
It's the Tigger with...
That's right.
Is poo in there or something like that? Yeah.
Oh, Danny's ass crack. I love that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We'll start off with the game on Thursday night. We have the 12th place Raiders up against the 10th place Sharks. How do you see this one going, guys?
Jason?
Not great.
For who?
Even at home?
Even at home.
Yeah?
Look, Thursday night, I mean, it's not... It's always rough to play there at night at Canberra, but this time of year is not that cold, so I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference to the Sharks. I think the Sharks, after having the pants pulled down last week, I think they're going to come back and win. I hope they don't, but look, it's toss a coin.
Look, an 8 p.m. game on a weekday is crazy to me. I think that's very late.
I think Canberra, they still get a crowd there on Thursday night.
Yeah, they bring in crowds.
But, yeah.
They definitely bring in crowds, but it is a very late time, anyway. So you're going...
Look, I'll go the Raiders with no confidence.
I'm going to back the Raiders on this one. I think home ground's great. You got that horn, brings in a bit of atmosphere. Cranky Ricky hopefully gets them into gear. The Sharks are just not really there at the moment, so I think I might just pick the Raiders for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Raiders at home too. I think they'll be too strong. So
yeah,
I think home ground.
Yeah,
purely based on home ground.
Yeah.
I don't. Raiders forwards last week weren't 100%. I don't think that'll happen again this week.
You'd think if they could beat the Broncos at home, they could do the Sharks. But it's only round 5.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll start off with the second game. The Panthers up against the Cowboys.
Panthers, home. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Cleary's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Edwards is back too?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to sit there and think that they're going to be on song for this because isn't he coming back? Edwards is coming back early from injury, is he not? So I don't think he's going to play great. I think catching will be fine, but I don't think they're going to really put themselves out there too far just with coming just off injury. So I'm going to back the Panthers because home game and whatnot, but I'm not going to be super confident in them winning this one, to be honest.
Playing the Cowboys at Penrith, you would always take Penrith. I think they'll win ugly this week.
I think it's going to be a tight one if they do win. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Panthers too. I think they're due for
They're not.
a good win, and I think they'll win comfortably this week.
I actually don't think they're back. Sorry, I'm just checking the team list,
Right.
and they're off.
No, okay.
Oh, Nathan Cleary's on, but no Dylan
Well,
Edwards.
he might be a late inclusion. Right, anyway,
Yeah,
still going Penrith.
yeah, Panthers for me. Panthers for me. They're due. They're due.
They need a win.
Something. So yeah, that's what I think they are.
All right, guys. Well, going into the last game of Friday night, it's the arch rivals, South Sydney up against the Sydney Roosters.
Bunnies, easy.
Bunnies have got him.
Yeah, bunnies for me.
Bunnies for me.
Yep, that's unanimous.
Bunny style. Let's get it.
Unanimous decision there. Here we go. The match of the round for us. Saturday afternoon,
Well,
3 p.m.
You know what? I won't be sure.
Combat, the blue and gold, the Electric Eels up against my white and white, red and white, dynamite and Dragons.
Oh, well.
I had to sell it, didn't I?
No, you got to.
Bit of aggression going on down this end of the table. What are they doing?
Gutho versus Lomax. Jason Rolls up against his old club.
Yeah.
Nathan Brown up against his old club. Yeah, there's a lot of stake here. So, a lot of things going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How do you see it, Margie? I know, unbiased opinion or unbiased opinion.
I think Gufferson will be the difference.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think he's going to prove something to Parramatta.
Okay.
And that's I think it's based a lot around what Gufferson
So
does
do
in
you
that
think if he
game.
scores a try, he might do the Guth Arena in front
Oh,
of
he will, mate. He'll give it.
faithful?
He'll give it to him.
Yeah?
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah.
I just think he's. I know we spoke earlier, and your thoughts were Lomax. Well, it's not for me. I think it is Gufferson. Gufferson's done so much for the Dragons already.
Yeah, he has.
So if he plays well, the Dragons are going to play well.
Yeah. Look, I'm always going to take my team regardless. I think I see this as a danger game for the Dragons.
You're going to take a whole team. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I'm going to take
Oh,
my team.
Jesus.
I see this as a danger game for me. Look, we just come off the back of a win last week. If we don't back it up, well then, win beating Melbourne was nothing really. I said Parramatta are due for a win, and I just think this week will be the week. But I'm hoping, my heart says the Dragons, but I've just got that sneaking suspicion that Parramatta just might have it on there. Remember the last time we played in the combat? What was it, 44-40?
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was a weird game. So anyway, we'll take the other end of the panel. So, Court, what are you going to go for, mate?
Look, if it was the Eels on bye this week, I'd confidently take the bye as a win.
I hear you like the bye.
I'm not making any further comment.
Oh, right. So you are. So you do like that.
No, I'm just not feeding into this. I don't
Smile
want
if
to
you're lying.
Doesn't count if you make me smile.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to back the Dragons on this one, but in saying that is quite a risky move. I think it can be an either way game. It can be a bye game.
Yeah.
I think the Eels could win. They have the potential to win this week, 100%.
Well, anyone has the potential to win. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, I think they've got a decent chance this week, but, Lomax will be playing against his old team, so I'm going to back the Dragons, but I would not be surprised if the Eels come out on top or close.
That was my thoughts. Anyway,
Yeah.
James, what do you got, pal?
Oh, look, the Dragons roll Melbourne, so if they can't roll Para the next week, you got issues. In saying that, you lift for Melbourne. Can they lift the same way for Para? That's the danger.
They might relax it a bit.
They might think, oh, they're coming last, we don't need players. Well, Melbourne, blah, blah, blah. I'll take the Dragons, but yeah.
Just very quickly, all of us have watched 1,000 games of NRL, and, you win one week and you play not so good the next. So, as I said, this is a danger game for me. So, anyway, everyone's going Dragons. Obviously, Paraguay, mate, obviously.
Yeah. I'm going Dragons.
You're going to go Dragons,
Are you feeling all right?
Yeah. No, I seriously, I just think he's going to be the difference.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right, moving on. We'll get away from that. Titans and the Dolphins, mate, our next game. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to say much. Titans for me. That'll do me. Titans. Yeah.
I think the Titans have been on a good streak, but I think the Dolphins might turn it around this week.
That fins up for you, mate.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm going to pick the Dolphins, I think.
Okay.
That'll leave Para anchored at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, they're used to that.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah.
Looking up at everyone.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's enough said out of that.
Moving on.
Moving on. Saturday evening, 7:35 at Suncorp. We've got the Broncos up against the Tigers.
Broncos.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to back, I think. I'm going to go Broncos. Broncos are on form, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be much of a gap on it, to be honest. I think the Tigers are going to fight back a fair bit. So I think the Broncos will win, but not by much.
I'm going to go with Broncos due to the fact, well, not only they're playing at home, but without Luai inside too, I think that's a huge out for the Tigers. So for me, it's Broncos.
I think Broncos in it. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what we think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because they've been playing pretty good, dogged football, the Tigers. They're sticking around in games that they shouldn't be. And they've won very tight games as well.
They need to lift after losing the game last week that they shouldn't have lost.
Shouldn't have lost, exactly.
But it was 2 points a penalty kick, so really, at the end of the day, I think they played great. They just slipped up that
As I said
penalty.
earlier, if you score 24 points, you
should
win a
win.
game.
Yeah.
You do not lose.
But the other team also scored 24 points. So, yeah, they scored 26, but like before that, when they got that penalty kick, they were both on par. So, it's a hard one.
All right. That's everyone's tips there. All right, we'll go on to Sunday now, and the Bin Chickens up against the Storm, guys.
Bellamy would have put several rockets up his players, so Storm, battle the Brookie.
I'm going to go Storm. We got Turbo Tommy out on Manly at the moment, which I think is a huge loss.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the Storm's got this in the bag.
Storm will win, but they won't have it all their way.
Yeah, Storm for me. Only for that one loss for Manly.
Yeah.
A big loss.
Yeah. Anyway, to finish off round 5, we have the Bulldogs up against the Knights, guys.
Yeah, sorry, Dean, but Bulldogs.
Look, my heart says Knights, my head says Bulldogs. I'm going to back the Knights because they're my team, but I think the Doggies might mount them and show them what for. So,
Ball handling, that mounting down, so seriously. Oh my God. Are you okay?
oh,
You'd be frisky tonight.
I'm bi, apparently.
You're frisky tonight. Wow.
Something's going on.
My virgin here tonight.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go the Bulldogs just, I think.
You bitch.
I just think, they've got too much firepower. But you know what, in saying that, the Knights have had a bye. They'll be freshening up after the week that they had before. And who knows? You just never know in a game of footy. So, but you know what? It's only my tip and I could be wrong. So, anyway.
Usually are.
I think this is going to be another tight game, actually. So I am taking the Doggies, but I think the Knights might stick it to them a bit. If they're on song, I think and like you say, coming fresh too into the game.
And last game of the week too.
Hey.
And it'll be the last game of the week too, so they have plenty of time to rest up.
Yeah. So I think the Doggies. I think the Doggies in a tight one.
Yeah. Oh, guys, well, that's the Team List Tuesday for the week. The Warriors have the bye this week. We'll take a break and we'll wrap it all up. Welcome back, everybody. It's time to wrap up the show for another evening, and it's been another pretty damn good show tonight, I feel.
You've done well, Corey. You really have taken on the
Stepped up. It's done a
Yeah?
good job.
Yeah, well,
best stepdad ever. You've done good.
yeah, well, this segment's brought to you by friends at Sayers Inc. And Court, you've got a few competitions you got to announce for this week, my friend.
Yes, so thank you for everybody that has been getting around our competitions. And I really hope that a lot more people can get involved because there are some great prizes to be won. You got to be in it to win it. So 100% just tag away, invite some friends into the group, tag into our posts, share our posts. We appreciate every little bit of it. The first one, I want to announce some winners. So we've got for our fridge competition, Ross Terry. Congratulations. Great photo of your kids at the Look Like the Knights ground. Yeah, good stuff to see. The young ones getting involved. The little one's Knights dress was really cute. So, yeah, congratulations, mate. You got an entry into our fridge competition. So you win 2 bar fridges, and they are mini ones from our friends at
Shadow to Fair Hall.
Shadow to Fair Hall.
Yep.
Wrapped in any team of your choosing. So congratulations, Ross Terry. Second one we have is Trevor Dixon from Entire Concrete.
He's the workplace winner of the week.
The workplace winner, yes. So we've got a competition from our friends at Hip Pocket Workwear and Next Level Takeaway. So a $500 Hip Pocket voucher to spend and a workplace lunch, or if you're a bit out of the area, then we will reimburse you for whatever it costs for a lunchtime lunch.
So, yeah, congratulations to Trevor and congratulations to Ross on those particular competitions.
Yep, so you go in the entry, you've won an entry into the draw. We also have a 49cc esky, motorised esky to be won as well. So we need to be getting around that one. That one's a really good one to win. And how do we enter that one?
What we're going to do is get the code word at tonight's show and, email us at nighttime.com.au and, send in the code word and, we'll pick out a winner each week from that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's about it, guys.
Lots of great prizes to win.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it again, guys. It's great, another good evening, I feel. So, Jace, thanks for coming in, mate. I appreciate your thoughts and everything else you do, mate. So,
Thanks for having me. As I said, I almost pulled out of coming for just personal reasons, but no, glad I came. And,
thank you, mate. I appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Shot on
last minute. Yeah,
shot on a few people.
awesome, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Thanks
Nice
for
to
having
meet you too.
Good on you, Marchie. Cheers.
Yeah, Court Centre again, mate.
Thanks,
Regular now,
mate.
so awesome, mate. And Marchie, thanks for the last 2 weeks, mate.
All
So,
good, mate.
hope to see you again on the show.
I'm pretty
When
sure
we'll see you again, so-
I'll call up again.
Yeah, you will, mate. You're a great asset to our show, and obviously, everything you do around for us. So, I appreciate everything we do, and Smitter as well. What we do for you, what you do for Smitter and everything else, mate. So,
Yep. No, it's a pleasure. I enjoy doing it. So, like I say, and I say it every week, it's a good cause that he's involved with, and I just need to know. A few of my mates really need to get behind these guys. I try and share what I can, and the more it gets shared out there, the more we get back into the show and back into the foundation. I think the foundation's very well worthwhile.
yeah.
I'd like to see my mates get behind it and share it around, guys.
Yeah, well said.
Yep.
Anyway, also thanks to our camera crew, Chad, Jace, awesome, Chris,
Jacob.
That's it, guys, for another edition.
And thank you, Corey. You've done absolutely
You've done well,
tops,
mate.
mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
It's been a bit of pressure, but you've handled it.
Yeah. Well, the Smitter and the Crazy Lady will be back from their cruise at the end of this week. So, mate, I hope you've had a extremely good holiday and safe travels to all of you back home, you and the Smitter family. You, Kylie, Portia and Cruz. I hope you've had a great time over there.
You deserve the break.
Yeah,
And it'd be good to see you back refreshed.
Be back in the hot seat next week, mate. And,
And you better have gotten me a really good little treat from over there, and Corey's sheep that he's waiting for.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the mitts.
The nights are getting cold and lonely.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for another week. Until next time, it's all about the league. Good night.
Jason is a semen demon.
Jacob, take your little Eshay hood off. G-spot.
I can't find it.